Streams up, she's in the zone, breaking it down from her comfy throne. Smart as hell with a side of flair, politics sass and a killer stare. Casey's lurking tail in the frame, chat's already playing their games. That target day, sharp and bold, hot takes drop while the chaos unfolds. Truth with bite, both in the way, still showing up every streaming day. Brains and vibes, she leads the pack, now buckle in, no looking back. That dark night, let's go!
Hello. How are you, everybody? Can you hear me okay? We were recording this morning. How is the audio? We were recording this morning, so I turned off SteelSeries GG and turned it back on again. So it might have done some shit. Is it okay? We good? What would I do if there was like no one in chat? Oh, I would listen to myself if no one was in chat. Answered her own question. Here we go. Hey Peepers, you have great jeans. Thanks, Peepers. I'm not wearing my jeans today. Got my nice flappy pants, nice and airy for the heat. Right, hi Creamage. Creamage says hail, and Paffy, who is on the board for today, because if I don't like today's video, it's his fault. Because I've put my faith in his recommendation here. Good audio, thank you. Right, let's go. All right, here we go. So we are today. What we are doing, if you hadn't seen the thumbnail and the title, but you came here anyway. Yeah, we're going to do the main thing for today's debate is should we encourage our daughters, people who have them, to be feminists? So that's the main thrust of the discussion. But it is a debate that is held on someone CS Paffy really enjoys her channel, Louise Perry. So it's on her channel that we're going to look at stuff today. I have my Xmind open. And I have our transcript open. So let us get into it. Let's also start our background music. Let's hope it doesn't mess up the audio. Here we go. Okay, I can hear you. Sweet. Alright. I did not get to watch any of it last night, so this is going to be another one that's blind. Right, so there you go. For now, I think there should be some sort of intro or whatever, so I'm not going to be diagramming immediately. Let's get going. So yeah, in terms of who we're watching, it's Maiden Mother Matriarch with Louise Perry. So that's her channel. Stop giving me... Wait. I hope I'm in the right YouTube. Okay, no, it won't give me ads. Cool.
Okay, welcome everyone to Maiden Mother Matriarch and the first of what I hope will be a successful and enjoyable series of special episodes on a debate subject.
Ooh, so we're going to have quite a few debates to look through. So if you look at the thumbnail, well, whatever she's actually got here, it says Maiden Mother Matriarch debates down here somewhere. So that's what we're going to have. We're going to have a few to look at, I suppose, if we're interested in them. But yeah, it seems like the main one right now is should we encourage our daughters to be feminists? Before we get into it, before I actually get into what she's saying, oh yeah, she's trying to learn debate moderation too. Well, there you go. I will learn along with her. So when I read that, so that's all, we're going in blind here. So when I read, should we encourage our daughters to be feminists, we would have to, if we're talking about just a discussion, things that we could land up disagreeing on, the thing we're talking about is, do we need a certain amount of feminism in young women now? Is it necessary to do that? What should we be encouraging our daughters to do? Should we just let them be free and be female? Do we have to indoctrinate them into this idea that they are oppressed and they are going to find it tough out there because they are women? So are we going to give them the learned helplessness of feminism or not? Hey, Tomby. You have a daughter, although your daughter is, congratulations, your daughter's married. Would you have encouraged her to be a feminist? Did you? Yeah, so basically the discussion around that, I don't know, I'm thinking it could be not so good to indoctrinate your child into thinking the world, I already have this idea with race. I'm of that opinion with race. You shouldn't be making children believe from the get-go that they are less than because of their race. That's making them harbor that belief from childhood. If I look at my own childhood, I didn't have actually feminism going too much injected in as a child. Hey, Kitty-chan. Hi. If you had a daughter, would you say would you let her be feminist? I'll put this in the poll. Let me get the poll out today. Might as well, because it's kind of the title of the show. Why not? Let's just get into. Sorry, I have to get to the certain chat for us to do it. I've taught them not to expect a free ride and to work for everything they want. Feminazism didn't enter the equation. Yeah, it's about life. So for any of the 4 daughters, woo, you did better than my dad. My dad had 2. And that was his thing. He's like, oh, only real men can raise daughters. So, yeah, that was any of the 4 daughters. So you just taught them like normal life lessons. You weren't like, it's because you're female, you got to do it. No, it's just normal life lessons. The one thing my dad would instill is that is a little bit gendered, is that we're supposed to be ladies and we set the pace. And so there were gendered roles there, but it was never, when it comes to the rest of the world, it was never like, oh, you're gonna have a hard time because you're female. None of that. Hey, master, I gave them the skills to make conscious decisions and understand the consequence. Yeah, I think that's what my dad did too. Hi, mate, gotta run. Be back later. Well, thanks for saying hi, Groovy. Have a good evening, afternoon. See you later. Taught them to service their cars, work on DIY, sorting a plug, cooking, and more. But that's because of you knowing how to do the DIY stuff and everything. Yeah, we did not get any. If I wanted to work on a bicycle, my dad would have taught me absolutely everything about the bicycle and computers and things like that, but not cars. No, you just bring that to the shop. Bring them to the shop for that. I'd rather do that. Good morning, Kitty. Hi, Scoop. So, Scoop, I don't know if I think you're too young to be having kids, but if you have kids, females, daughters, I'm going to put this. I'm too busy talking. Basically, would you encourage your daughter to be a feminist? Okay, start a poll. Tomby says, Scoobs! Okay. Which wave of feminism? That's true. Interesting. Any wave. Just anything. If there is a certain one that you're interested in, say so. Nope. Yeah, fuck no. Okay. So, welcome back, Onion. Okay, am I saying your name correctly, by the way? I think it's quite a funny name. Which just gave them all opportunities that taught them not to expect the same results without practice. Okay. So what's the question is, Should we encourage, oh, sorry, I'll rephrase it for anything. Would you encourage your daughter to be a feminist? Yes. No. Feminist. I'll put in there of any way for you guys. Okay, start for. They will be in Sunday school. Yeah, you're not, but it's okay. Okay. I would encourage my daughters to have an internal locus of control. I tend to think feminism has an external locus of control. Yeah. Living the dream, working and lurking, etc., etc. Nice. Okay. Cool. Let us get into it. Let's go back into it. Let's see what she has to say.
So I have two guests with me today, both of whom have been on the podcast previously, both of whom take very different views on feminism in general, including how we define feminism, which is what we're going to start with today. First of all, we've got Bryan
definitions.
Caplan, who's Professor of Economics at George Mason University, writer of many books, including, most relevant to today's discussion, a 2022 collection of essays titled Don't Be a Feminist, Essays on Genuine Justice.
Ooh, Don't Be a Feminist, Essays on Genuine Justice. There's too much reading to do, but it's like, I guess at this point it's going to be like a game backlog. The book backlog is just as egregious. Don't be a feminist by Bryan Caplan. Okay. Hey Jake. Yes, teach girls to stop leeching off men and being entitled. Okay, so that's why your vote was yes. Feminism benefits men. Trad cons are anti-men. Okay. Okay, anti-men. Trad cons they expect too much from men. They put too much on. Also, I don't want my daughters to be loyal to a group that's potentially hostile to my family unit. Very good. So that's also a negative. Yeah, why teach them to be hostile to their own upbringing? Although, if I remember some of the conversations I had with lecturers in university, they were definitely doing that.
And on the other side, we have...
Thank you, Onion, for the membership. I don't know who I'll be able to see who was hit in the chat just now. We'll see who was hit. Unless it was Onion. Ognen, I decided you're Onion though. Okay, let's go.
Lawford-Smith, Professor of Political Philosophy at...
Yeah, I think you might like this one. Sorry, you might like this clip. I'll play it for you because there is the whole idea that you're supposed to play a clip for someone when they give you a super chat or a membership. So here you go. Shut up, bitch! There you go. I think you might like that. Okay. Wasn't me. I need Shippy to get me mine. Oh, Shippy's busy with life. We miss Shippy.
The University of Melbourne, and
although maybe he's just abandoned my channel because there's too much political talk. Did you notice the emote bombs? Yes, I did. You were doing hundreds. Thanks, Timber. Nice clip, lol. Yeah. Creamage, courtesy of Creamage. A lot. That guys, anything that's funny on this channel is courtesy of Creamage.
Again, of many books, the most recent of which is titled Feminism Beyond Left and Right.
Okay, so this was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, she actually had Holly on here. So, Feminism Beyond Left and Right. I suppose I put it on the list. Feminism, and I've written it in blue. Feminism Beyond... Yeah, so she spoke there is another episode of this. It's not a debate, but it is a discussion. Beyond left and right. Okay. Don't blow my cover. I'm not a bot. You are a bot, Timber. It's 6 a.m. for me. I shall be returning to sleep. But I shall repost the stream and drop a like. Also wants to come in and say hi. Thanks so much, Scoob. Enjoy your sleepies. I really appreciate your presence. Have good sweet dreams. I need to clean this computer. It's got Daisy spit on it. She goes and rubs her cheek on my glass tower. Good lord. Anyway, gynocentrism is the problem. Okay, it's another word. Maybe they'll get into that idea. Okay.
Which attempts, among other things, to define feminism. The motion that we'll be debating today is, should we encourage our daughters to be feminists? And in order to engage properly with that question, we do need to start by defining our terms.
Lovely, lovely. If we're talking about her, maybe I should add her to the diagram as a moderator. Okay, so as the moderator, we will say, she's starting it off. Remember, one of the things with being a sorry, I've just been one-shotted by Theo asking me why. Why? For what? What do you mean why for what? Why am I doing stuff? You know why? Because I'm interested. There we go. So I don't have her in here, but I'm going to put her in. To what extent? Okay, you know what also, what's irritating me lately, guys? Just hold on. Is this. There you go. So unnecessary. Okay. There we go. Right. Feminism. Why feminism? Oh, you know what, Theo? Oh, did you get that? Did you get you obviously voted no in the poll, right? Why would you encourage your daughter to be a feminist? Is that a no from you and from June? So is it no from you because you're a man? Or is it no from you because you don't need them to be whiny? The diagram is about to get very wordy. Okay, so we definitely have to reduce to ideas then. Louise Perry realized that feminism doesn't benefit women and wants to go back to the tradcon lie. Jake, you're on like, no, you want feminism so women can stop leeching. I agreed yes to feminism. Nice. Anti-fake crab. So you want them to be feminists. Why is it, you know, we're not where we need to be. Yes, negative to whiny. Yeah, so you don't want your girls to become negative and looking for problems and whiny. We'll do that by ourselves. We'll do that without being encouraged. That's, as we mature, that's what we tend to do. Okay, so Louise is gonna get Peach. She is the moderator. I would love a close-up of your tattoos. Well, I mean, I'll try at the moment. It's pretty difficult. Here's my dragon. Okay, and there are roses. And then you've got my, okay, you can see her upside down. Ew. There is Moraine from the Wheel of Time, and then the wheel from the Wheel of Time as well. She's all skew. He does not mean titties. And here is just basically the pattern from the Wheel of Time. Just all pretty stuff on the right arm. And a rose. Do what you want, just don't complain when you need a man to save you. Well, I had a daughter if I had a daughter, I'd want her to be self-reliable and love herself by 25. Good. I think that it would be better that just instill that in her as a human being rather than as a woman. Like, when I think of somebody encouraging their daughter to be a feminist, it is starting them off thinking that there is a fight to be had, that they are something less than a man, and they need to expect it and see it everywhere. So that's what I I think of in terms of encouraging. Whereas the way that you seem to have understood it is, yeah, I want her to love herself and to be confident. I want the good things for her. So that's what feminism is to you. So that's why it's pretty good here. As a moderator, Louise is already going, let's define our terms. I love dragons and I love the yin yang symbol. Yeah, so this symbol is, you see it doesn't have the dots in it, right? That is because it's from the Wheel of Time. It's, there's the certain symbol of it. But basically, hey, guys, one of the main things from the Wheel of Time is male and female working together. So, like the black part is the male and the white part is the female. That is the halves of the power, and they work the best when they work together. Encourage her to be a feminist, but not from an anti-male perspective. Teach her to be a feminist because she ought to respect men. For being men, I don't know. I would want to teach her to respect people. Like, respect men. I don't want her to be, I suppose you could raise her to be antagonistic to men. That's what I think when I say no to be encouraging a daughter to be feminist. I believe there is equality and that women can do everything, like June doing engineering. However, some stuff ain't for all women to do, physical/strength stuff. Yeah, exactly. It really is just not. Okay, no. They really have to be big bitches to be able to do the physical stuff. They have to be built like men to do the physical stuff. Women don't respect men in general. They need to be taught it. Okay. Right. Respect his authority. Respect him. Don't yell at him. Don't slap him. There are a lot of women out there that think they can hit a man, and it's perfectly fine. That there's no mismatch. There's no abuse there. The fact that you can hit him, he can't hit you back. It would be atrocious for him to hit you back. So they kind of use that against me. That they can slap him around and whatever. Because why not? He's a man. He can't hit me back. And then they get offended when the man actually gets a bit aggressive back to them. I'm not saying, ooh, they deserve it. I'm just saying when a man puts a woman in her place, and like picks her up and puts her away, essentially. They are like, how dare you put your hands on me? It's like, but you are putting your hands on a man, lady. Yeah, I'll try and find some of these FAFO moments for our normal React stream on Friday. Why do you yell and shout at Gordon? Because I'm disrespectful to Gordon. Because I'm bad. I yell and shout at Gordon with a smile on my face, Theo. I do yell and shout at him with a smile on my face. Because then he smiles at me, and then we can't stay mad at each other. Kitty just hisses at Gordon. No, actually what I do is I go, because if I'm irritated, it's a kind of cat meow, like a cat irritation when they go, essentially I do that to him. He doesn't care though. If he's irritating me, he's doing his job. And then you slam the door and leave the room. Oh, Theo! Okay, if there's anyone that I yell at, it's you. No, I did not slam the door. It sounded like I slammed the door, but I did not. I just closed it. Okay? Right. If you're going to watch the new Jocat video, you better not watch it ahead of time. Okay, I won't. But it's about longsword. I don't play longsword, so I don't know if it's going to go over my head.
Holly had the fun idea of starting by getting each of you to define what the other person thinks feminism is in the most
Holly got that from Bogosian.
charitable and generous way possible.
In the most charitable and generous way possible. Interesting. So the first major topic actually is define. Did she say define terms? Let's go to the let's go to the transcript. so we don't have to replay and replay and replay. Oh, it wasn't on auto scroll. Fuck.
So, Holly,
There we go. Okay, the motion we'll be debating today. Da-da-da-da-da. Holly, the fine idea of starting by getting each of you to define what the other person thinks feminism is. Okay. Fine. What thinks feminism most charitable? Wait. Okay. Also, I have a good idea for Friday. Since you don't know VTubers, you should watch. Oh god, too many VTubers. We'll do a VTuber episode next week, Friday, not this week. New model debut, and put some titties in the thumbnail. It's supposedly the most high-tech model ever. Interesting. Okay, then I'll look at that. Apparently, BMO is making some sort of model, but they take time. He reframes the debate. So this debate's about feminism. He reframes. I want books about debate itself, about arguing itself. But I've got so much to read already. It doesn't matter if you recommend it to me.
your idea. Do you want to start by steel manning Bryan's view of feminism, having read his work?
Yes,
Having read it.
I'm very happy to try and do that. So I'll give myself some points by quoting Bryan, because that's an excellent way to be accurate. So Bryan's definition of a feminist, I think he says a reasonable view that he then takes forward in the essay. So he says feminism is the view that society generally treats men more fairly than women.
Okay, this is important to copy paste. Feminism is the view that society generally treats men more fairly than women. Okay, so yeah, women are unfairly treated compared to men. You didn't buy Rachel Wilson's book, I'm guessing. No, I have not. I have a whole list of books that I have to still get through, and a whole video that I've had to restart. So with these books that I am eventually reading, members only will get discussions of them. So there's that, but eventually I'll get to it. But also Louise Perry I'm reading her book before I read that one. The respect thing makes me worried. I was taught to respect women, but I don't know if women are taught to respect men. Were you taught to respect men the same way men are taught to respect women? No, I think what we were taught is that a man must respect us. A man mustn't hit us. We are actually, yeah, a man, there are certain expectations that a man should meet. That's what I was taught. In terms of respecting a man, I was taught from the beginning that the man is the head of the household. But I was never taught this, that you've got to respect the man. I don't know, because he's a man. It was never that. It was like, respect the head of the household. The head of the household is the man. Respect the mother of the household. The mother is the one who makes it a home. That's what I was taught, and what I also when I got married, that was something that my parents were also trying to emphasize for me, that I have value as a homemaker. They were trying to remind me of that's what I should be doing. But yeah, in terms of respecting men, yeah, I don't know. It was never the specific thing. It was more about respect itself. I think maybe the thing is, because men are stronger than women, it is part of the education that you've got to treat women differently, because you can do more damage as a man. So it's like, it's part of the curriculum to learn that as a man you can't hit. Okay, if violence doesn't solve everything, and then especially don't get physical with a woman. Your physical presence compared to that of a woman is intimidating. You need to hold yourself a different way because of women. Kitty has old school values, respect. The thing is that's weird, Master, is that I have these old school values, But then I also have these tendencies where I'm like, yeah, well, I still don't want children, that sort of thing. It's a weird thing. Like, I had all of the things coming up that said I should just come out a trad wife, but I'm not. With feminism, head of the household thing won't fly anymore. Yeah, I suppose it wouldn't. But with feminism, with my kind of feminism, or in terms of the Italian household, if you know, or Mediterranean, or I'm sure it's in the Latino household as well. There's still this, yes, there's this patriarchy in say a Latino household or an Italian household or something, where it's the man of the house, but the woman is a formidable force in that dynamic as well. A woman is still a nag, and still full of shit, and still very not a silent, a passive person in the household. So I think maybe that's I don't know, I didn't get that from my mom. Why should men not use their strength to their advantage? Women do it all the time. What do women do? Are you saying when they use their lack of strength, as in they use their bodies, their advantages? How do women use their strength? Are you talking about literal physical strength? Because their physical strength is really nothing compared to men. I'm born in the Mediterranean. The women don't act anything like you. Oh, okay. Well, I suppose maybe it's the immigrantness of my parents, because my parents are both Italian. Both of my grandmothers were pretty loud in their households, and considered, not just kept to the side and cooking in the kitchen. They were still quite, yeah. So maybe it's because they immigrated. They were actually kind of rebels or something. They went to South Africa. I don't want kids either. Way too much responsibility. That's where I'm at. Why? No, they use their strengths against men, like their sexuality, their social privilege, etc., against men. Because, yeah, I suppose that they do use it, but it's still something that men can resist. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's seen differently, because if a man can use his physical strength, there is nothing a woman can do about it. Whereas a man can easily, not easily, let's not say easily, but has a bit more of a chance to handle for women than a woman does. I would encourage my daughter to find her own way and beliefs, not push any specific worldview. Aside from general good morals and human decency, I would allow my children to seek out their own beliefs. That's great. That's it, Hydra. I would expect that, because it seems like framing the world from this feminist viewpoint is it's not helping them. I think it would bring a lot of negativity. Can you cook kick-ass Italian food? I can't cook kick-ass Italian food. I can just cook Italian food. My mom can cook kick-ass Italian food. Me, on the other hand, I make nice pasta. But that's it. I have never made a lasagna. Yeah, I've got my Italian cookbook, but yeah, maybe one day I'll get stuck in. Men were blessed with physical strength and authority. No reason we need to make ourselves smaller for women. I don't think you need to make yourself smaller for women. I just don't think you need to abuse women with that power. Your strength, the strength that you're blessed with, is traditionally to actually protect her from other men who can be tyrants to her. 2-minute noodles. Listen, I make pasta as well. Just because my husband is plain Jane over there who wants 2-minute noodles, it's not my problem. I'm just making him happy, Crimmage. Stop trying to steal my husband. Manicotti is my favorite. Manicotti. What's it? That's just making me think of what's the name? The Sopranos. Do you protect men when they get abused? I would protect a man I don't know how I would, but I would support a man if he was abused. And And it would be a lot more fair if I tried to beat up a woman that was abusing a man. It'd be good. Free. We're equal on equal footing here.
And basically the rest of the essay is kind of assessing.
Guys, we do have to get to the video here. I'll stop trying to steal Gordon when he stops being such a cutie pie. Yeah, it's not happening. Men aren't women's bodyguards. No, they're not. They're not. But, okay, well, women aren't men's sex toys then. I don't know. If you're going to reduce each person to one function, of course it's going to sound horrible. I'm saying it's just something that people do, something that humans do with their strength. Male humans do with their strength. Evolutionarily. Women don't owe men children and virginity. We owe each other nothing. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see what you mean by that. You owe each other nothing. So, are you of the opinion that we should just die out then? What do you think of... Are you against men and women being in relationships, Jake? Do you think there is never a fair relationship between a male and a female? So it shouldn't even occur. Right, I like this idea. Maybe we should, for tomorrow's stream, just do a discussion of a Q&A about feminism itself. Because we're talking a lot right here, and I'm trying to get through the video. We're not going to finish the video today at all, so I suppose we could end off tomorrow's stream with half an hour of chat. But yeah, I'm going to get into the video now. Please do enjoy speaking about the stuff with each other in chat, though.
Whether in fact it's true that society treats the essay
let's go back here.
Fairly than women.
Okay, so where we're at here, if I just go back to diagramming even, we're defining, we're still manning the other person's definition. And also this is now, it's not just what we think the person defines it as. They have read each other's works, apparently. So that is even, it's on a different level than just, oh, what you expect your opponent to be thinking. So feminism is the view that society generally treats men more fairly than women, and this is Holly quoting Bryan. So this is how she is still manning him. Okay, I'm actually going to say Holly quoting Bryan. Okay, and then we've got okay.
And basically the rest of the essay is kind of assessing whether in fact it's true that society treats men more fairly than women. This is maybe...
Okay, so the rest of the essay is talking about whether whether society treats true that society treats men more fairly than women. Okay. This is maybe going to take us okay.
Maybe going to take us across the line from the just stating the view to starting to discuss the view, which I know we'll come back to, but I will just flag he is not explicit about what the more fairly part of this definition means. And what I mean by that is he does not say whether it is strictly comparative. So to be treated more fairly would always mean to be treated differently and better than the other sex. I mean, there's just two sexes. So is it always like we're sort of point scoring about what the other guy gets, like two siblings having a rivalry over the parent's affection? Or is it a kind of objective baseline view where we have a conception of what the human person deserves, maybe getting their basic needs met or having a sufficient range of attractive options, something like that. And then you're sort of treated more or less unfairly when you don't get those needs met.
Okay. So is it okay? So she's got quibbling. Well, not quibbling. She just wants to flagging that doesn't define or doesn't explicitly explain what not fair or more fairly means in this context. The other guy, wait, okay, so let me I just want to read up again what she's saying here. So, what, fairly part of this definition, what means, and what I mean by this is he does not say whether it is strictly comparative. So it's always about what women get versus what men get. So on to be treated more fairly would always mean to be treated differently and better than the other sex. So, what it means is it's strictly comparatively. Is it based on, or strictly comparatively based on human needs. So it's if we're just comparing them always. So this would mean if I'm thinking about yesterday's discussion, yeah, what I was so frustrated with is that she was always referring, the woman was always referring to how men men also weren't able to vote, and that was the problem. It's like, okay, they had that level of oppression, but at the same time women were extra oppressed. So it did not cancel out. So the fact that men also had to get their vote, the fact is, when they first got their votes, women did not get their votes. There still had to be an extra bit going on. Hello, 1 of 44. How you doing? What's for lunch? Okay, strictly comparatively based on human needs. Okay, so she doesn't know. And objective baseline, where we have the conception of what the basic human needs.
That doesn't necessarily make reference to the other sex. But I think either way that we unpack this more fairly idea, we enable the kind of point scoring or competition, sibling rivalry that goes on in the rest of the essay.
Okay, so I'm going to put here actually a more fairly block, okay, is something that she just wants to explore further, and we need to make it her color. Okay, no, sorry, make it round there. And then, is it this? Strictly comparatively based on human needs, sibling rivalry type of comparison. Okay. We are red pilling Kitty. Are you gonna red pill me? Of course it was dangerous as now where our wealth and tech makes them delusional enough to believe they don't need men. I definitely need my man. I definitely need him. Men themselves, yeah, we need men too. Sorry, as much as I was gonna say, oh, I just need mine. No, I need all of them. Yeah, I do. Evolutionary psychology and anthropology stuff explains these behaviors. Yeah. But actually, Andrew, what we were getting here from some people in chat is that you know what? Yeah, sure, that might have been something in evolution, but actually, women and men don't owe each other anything. They don't. That the whole thing of men providing something for women and women providing something for men. We don't need that anymore. That's done. Most females rage bait men on the internet with clips saying overtly they don't need men. Yeah, no. Me trying to say that women at some point were oppressed does not mean that I'm like, we don't need men. No, that's the weird thing, is that I'm expected, just because I'm thinking a certain way about women having not had certain rights earlier on, somehow I now mean that men, nobody needs them. Right.
So Bryan then will talk about there's these ways that I think he agrees that women are treated unfairly. They do more domestic labor, for example. But there's all these other ways that men are treated more unfairly, like they're sent off to die in war.
Yes, okay, so that is the argument we got yesterday. So he does so she's giving the argument and the definition here. But I suppose because the definition does talk about this more fairly thing, she's just letting us know in the essay there are certain ways that women are treated unfairly. Domestic labor, okay? And then it's like, but, and that's why I'm connecting them. They're not separate points this way, down. They're not extra. They are connected points that rely on each other. This line is very important, but men are treated worse because they have to go to war and die. Hey Wade, I have certain plants that I grow that I want to be female, but some of them go trans and grow male balls. In plants, at least sex seems fluent. Oh, I'm sorry. Which plants are these, Wadey? I don't think I could have those plants where I live. Only one woman made it through marine training. Well, that's a big bitch. Evo Psych interprets social life through a gynocentric gaze. Okay, lens. For me to know. Andrew, don't. We've got some new people in chat, so if you want to argue with them. But remember, we love you. That's all. Arguing men versus women in a finite temporal life seems ridiculous. One day, death will come for us all. Then what? Then God will say, you go to female heaven and you go to male heaven and you guys never see each other again. I came up late, sorry. It's okay. But men are treated worse because they have to go to war. Okay, I hope you guys don't have to go to war anytime soon, okay? I'm transing my husband if there's conscription. That's not happening. My husband's gonna be my girlfriend so that I can keep him. But I think everyone would be progressive and they would just conscript women the way I think there's a lot of armies that just conscript women anyway. It's like, sure, you don't have to go to the front lines, but you still have to give service to the you have to give service to the military. Okay, so men are treated worse because they have to go to war. So here we are.
And so then you're sort of
and it wouldn't be Gordina, it would be Jordana.
Just assessing, in fact, which group is it that's worse off. And you're sort of just assessing, in fact, which group is it that's worse off.
Yeah, that is very much the thing, because isn't it the trend that we're supposed to say women are the worst off, women suffer the most? And whenever and feminists will get angry whenever you bring up like mental health, men's mental health and all of that. They get angry at you that you can't care about a man's mental health. You can't do that. Because if you care about there's always this either or. It's always this black and white thinking where I cannot care about a man's mental health because I need to worry about a woman's one. If I don't, I can't care about them both. It's not a thing. No, you must actually scorn the man's mental health. That's the feminism I'm angry at, where it's like you scorn the man. You have to scorn him and scorn everything masculine. Why? Why is that?
And maybe I'll just say, and again, this might be kind of blurring between the two challenges, but if this is the view, then I think it's like Bryan has this strong conclusion, right, which is like, don't be a feminist. Like a feminist is a person who thinks society treats women more unfairly, but she's wrong about that. And
yes, okay, here we go. Let's add to this. So feminism is the view. So a feminist, it follows that a feminist is don't conscript both sexes when in total war. Who's going to work the factories and home front? Those who couldn't make it into the military, not production efficient. Hydra is very, very correct. That is very true. We are still we're still useful if we work in the. I don't know if we should trust Kitty with heavy machinery. Maybe just let me type. Albeit I cannot. We need AI is gonna take my job. I can type fast. Is that okay? Is that can I get that job in the war? No. Okay. A feminist is a person who views society, who thinks, society generally treats men more fairly than women, and she is wrong, and they are wrong. I'm gonna put that in there. Don't be a feminist. I think this is going beyond definition, but I guess you could go. It's a good starting point. Okay.
The fact that she's wrong about that is a reason to not be a feminist. The slight tweak would just be a
Yes, I want to run comms. Listen, guys, my voice is so piercing. It would get through to people, right? It would work, right? You're so right, Creamage. And I would every now and then just shut up, bitch. Keep the comms clear.
feminist is a person who cares about society's unfair treatment of women. And Bryan grants that there is unfair treatment. It's so that you could just reject it has to be overall winning the sibling rivalry. And then the question would be, well, should you not be a feminist on that view? And again, I think I would like to discuss as the conversation goes on with Bryan, does he really hold this very strong moral principle that like, it's wrong to be any advocate for a group where the group isn't the most unfairly treated out of all the groups in society.
Okay, yeah, so it seems like his requirement is that... But the thing is, it seems like the feminist contention is that the woman is the most unfairly treated. So that comes down to it as well. So she's now adopted this, oh well, it's fine, I don't have to be the most unfairly treated to support this, which I think is fine, yeah. But it seems like in practice what feminism does is it does kind of put itself as women are the most it's the only, and not even the most oppressed, it's they are the only ones you should focus your energy on, and it is egregious and horrible if you care about anything else in the same way. Okay, so don't be feminist person who thinks about that. And the privileges, yes, Jake, this is yesterday when this is a point that was very well made about the privileges that women have. In terms of the easier life that they have because they are women. They get to stay at home more. They don't have to go out to war and die. And as Hydra said, it's not efficient to have them go out anyway. Rather keep them. There are efficiency reasons for them to stay and men to go and be the ones that are on the front lines. But my major contention came down to the inherent human rights value that is taken away from women when you're starting to say we don't need their opinion in voting. We don't need that sort of thing. Okay, don't be feminist. Feminist is a person who thinks so. You have to accept. I just want to see. The question would be, should you not be a feminist on that view? Because does he really hold this very strong moral principle that is, does he? I'm going to actually copy paste. It's wrong to be an advocate for a group where the group isn't the most unfairly treated of all the groups in society. So yeah, my commentary there is, yeah, but you kind of act in practice that you are, and giving any kind of attention to another issue is compliance and complicity. It's complicity. Does he really hold this view as strong moral principle? That it's wrong. Okay, I'll put quotes here. All right. Guys, if you're wondering where the background music comes from, it's Creamage. So give him thanks. We need to make, you know what? Creamage emote. Creamage, what would your emote be? Hey? What would a Creamage emote look like? Must it be a glass of milk? Because that's what Zaxi does whenever he comes to say hello. Yeah. Grew up Christian. I'm running so far away. Are you running away from Christianity? What it? Oh gosh, guys. We really need to do a Q&A. It'll be fun. Okay. But that means you guys have to come around for it. Okay. Does he really hold this very strong moral principle that it's wrong to be any advocate for a group where the group isn't the most unfairly treated? Okay, cool. Let's go. How far do you think we'll get today? 20 minutes? I think we'll get to 20 minutes.
Or is more than equally treated with some other groups? Because I think my view would be like, no, it's totally fine to have a justice division of labor and just care about some groups who have some injustice. So you could be a men's rights advocate about war, and you could be a feminist who cares about obstetric violence, and that's all just completely fine. Okay.
Okay. So she would say, in her opinion, you could be an activist for men's rights in war and a women's rights activist with regard to obstetric violence. That would be okay. Obstetric violence. That's what she said. Okay. Running away from Christianity but lives in a Christian world. Okay, buddy. Nah. Yeah, oh guys, okay, so at some point the think is still up for grabs this week in terms of the topic. But eventually we want to talk about the state and society and civilization. So Wesley, it would be nice to have you there for that, in chat for that, because this idea of running from Christianity but lives in a Christian world, how do you escape from the civilization you live in? Is it possible? The influence of the groups you live in is quite extensive. Anyway, stop being distracted by these people in chat with their interesting responses. Appreciate you guys.
Okay, so restatement of his view, just in case I talk too much. Feminism is the view that society generally treats men more fairly than women.
Okay, Bryan, your turn to charitably define what Holly thinks feminism is.
Okay. Charitably define what Holly thinks feminism is.
All right, that's super. So Holly and I are on the same page. I'm also a quoter. And so Holly was, on the one hand, made it a little harder because you went through many possible definitions, but if you actually do the work of reading what you wrote, and I think I did, then we get to your final answer, and that's the one I'm going to quote here. So here you have feminist, a person who works for women's equality, whether of outcome or of opportunity.
Oh, no.
Women's individual self-determination, women's liberation, or women's interests, as the person understands them, whether or not that is also as they are, or who works against male domination.
Okay. So you have a person. They quote each other, so we're literally copy and pasting. So we got Bryan quoting Bryan quoting what's her name? Holly. Okay, going to quote here. So here you have a feminist. A feminist is a person who works for women's equality, whether of outcome or opportunity. That's the thing that I got very upset with, because I was like, no. What do you mean whether for outcome or equality? No. These are very, very different things to be fighting for. outcome and opportunity are different things. If you're looking for outcome, you're trying to socially engineer and change women. Okay, you're trying to make women not be women when you want this outcome. If you want, I want more women in STEM, you're trying to engineer women to be more interested in things than they are in people. That's not good. I'm not a fan of this outcome thing. But anyway, we're not here for what I'm thinking yet. Or of opportunity. Women's individual self-determination, I'm in favor of that. Where it is not there, you need to fight for this or works for women's equality. So you're working for individual self-determination, their ability to individually self-determine. That's I'm all good for that. What do they mean by individual self-determination, especially in American or Australian or a Western context? That's interesting to me. Women's liberation or women's interests. Like for me, I'm like, this means you should be an activist, like trying to figure out how to change Afghanistan kind of thing. Okay, as a person, okay, as the person.
So that is the definition that...
Wait, okay, he finished this. Whether or not is also women's liberation or women's interest as the person understands them. Whether or not that is also as they are wow, this is so horribly written if he's reading it verbatim. Like, you do not need to write in this manner, ma'am. Okay, going to quote here. A feminist is a person, okay, let's maybe speak English. A feminist is a person who works for women's equality, whether of outcome or opportunity. They work for women's individual self-determination, women's liberation, or women's interests, as the person understands them. Okay, as is understood by the person. Okay. Okay, whether or not that is also as they are. Who works against male? Okay. Wow. Who works for male? A person who works against male domination. Interesting.
I believe was the final one. What's distinctive about this is that you put a lot of emphasis upon working. So it's not enough just to be a passive believer.
Mm-hmm.
When I was reading this, I was thinking this is a lot like the priest who says you can't be a Christian just by saying, I believe this doctrine and now I'm going to exist. You've got to actually start acting on it. And as to what that means is unclear, but you've got to start. It's a living doctrine, something you're...
Okay, that's cool. What stands out to him is it's working. So for her, more fairly was what stood out for her. He goes working. Okay, it's a living doctrine. It must be practiced. Okay, cool. So you don't get to just believe, I believe in women's rights. You have to be anti-men, essentially, is what we get these days. It's the same thing as you can't just believe racism is wrong. You have to be anti-racist. Right? Hi, big bad guy.
Supposed to actually be doing things in order to go and promote it, and to maybe not even just live a righteous life yourself, but to actually be proactively trying to achieve this goal. Let's see. Anything else I want to say there? Let's see. So, just in terms of adding on some details, there's also discussion about whether men can be feminists or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Holly says that she had a change of heart and initially had the view that men can only be allies, but now men can be feminists. But it's not merely the view that men and women should be treated equally.
Okay, so men can only be allies. I think this is just playing with words. Okay, I know she's changed her mind, but let's play with this idea. Okay, she spoke about initially men could only be allies and not feminists. that's just playing, that's fucking around with words, okay? It's trying to it's trying to put them in this special place that's a little bit, it's when we need you, we will call upon you. You are not allowed to be part of our group. When we need you, we'll speak about you, so you get to be an ally. We will never call you a feminist because you have a penis. This is we'll keep you separate. Maybe, yeah, and this word ally can actually get in the C now, honestly, but we still use it. It's still common parlance. Okay, ally. Okay, always an ally. As soon as you hear that, you know, this is a problem. A lot of the time for me, it's the beacons are lit, the virtue is signaling when I hear ally. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Okay, so
It's got to be more than that. Now, the one thing...
Okay, so, sorry. Just in terms of adding on some details, there's also discussion about whether can be feminist, men can be feminists. I believe Holly says that she had a change of heart, initially had the view that men can only be allies, but now men can be feminists. But it's not merely the view that men and women should be treated equally. It's got to be more than that now. Okay, so it's got to be more than that. That's crap. Okay, it's not just that men and women ought to be treated equally. That's not fun. What do you want? What do you want? If that's not what you want further, but it's not merely the view that men and women should be treated equally. It's got to be more than that. I suppose maybe he means it's got to be action. Now, the one thing where I say, okay, I'm unclear, so let's let him talk.
Where I will say I'm unclear and open to correction is if we skip to the last paragraph of the book.
That's mean. But I suppose you could do that with some of these books. It's not exactly a fiction book.
And we get a view which is not totally inconsistent, but it does seem not obviously so. Last paragraph of the book. When something hurts women, feminists are against it. They're not against it only if it fits into team left politics. The same goes for team right politics. They're not against it only if team left women are hurt by it. The same goes for team right women. Feminism is not a political tribe first, women of this political tribe second. It is women first. So that's one where it did leave me wondering, what if women had a totally unjust demand? It would seem like on that latter statement that you'd be required as a feminist to go and support their totally unjust demand, whereas the first definition didn't seem so. Although, again...
Okay, so this is at the end of the book. He goes to the end of her book where she is talking about left, because her whole book is left and right. What's it? Feminism beyond left and right. So he's quoting a part about beyond left and right, right? I'm just going to put beyond left and right, or left versus right in feminism. So he goes, let's read it. Feminism is not a political tribe first. Women of this political tribe second. It's women first. And now I need to go all the way back up here. This is why the transcript is here, so I don't have to replay the video over and over again. Let's just copy paste so I can play around with this text. If women had totally unjust demand, okay, so it would seem like, okay, this is the last thing that he's worried about. So I'll put that there. Let's go further. Oh fuck! This scroll is too sensitive.
You might go and say, well, there's this line of...
Okay, so if I go back,
Then only if it fits into team love. When something hurts women...
Okay, there we go. When something hurts women, feminists are against it. Okay. This is a line from the book. Oh, you cutso. Line from book. Something hurts women are against it. Okay, and then from there we've got they're not against it only if it fits into team left politics. I don't believe that, because team left is the only feminism allowed. They're not against it only if it fits into the team left politics. Okay. The same goes for team right politics. Okay. They're not against it. Okay. They're not against it. Only if team left politics. Ugh, he's reading very badly here. If team left women are hurt by it. Okay. Feminism is supposed to be, sorry, feminism is, what I'm getting from this is feminism is supposed to be woman first and not left or right. It is not a political tribe first, women of this political tribe second. It is women first. I don't think so. I don't think that's where it stands now. I think this is her ideal. This is what she wants it to be. That she wants it to not have the left-right tribalism, but it seems like there are feminists on the right and there are feminists on the left, and they see feminism differently. The same goes for Team Right Women. Feminism is not a political tribe first. Okay, there we go. Let me take this out. Okay. This is basically the summary of what he's saying here. Or what she's saying. Okay. It's right. So from this summary here, he's like, well, it means that women can have a bad demand politically. It did me wondering, what if women had a totally unjust demand? It would seem like on that latter statement that you'd be required as a feminist to go and support their totally unjust demand. Yep, just simply because that is tribalism, simply because they're women. Okay. Right. So let's play here from here.
Direction is we skip to the last paragraph of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Then the same goes for Team Right politics. They're not against it. Only if Team Left politics. Did leave me wondering, what if women had a totally unjust demand? It would seem like on that latter statement that you'd be required as a feminist to go and support their totally unjust demand, whereas the first definition didn't seem so. Although, again, you might go and say, well, there's this line about women's interests. And it's like, well, what if it's in a women's interest to go and get everything? And in no way deserves it, but still, you might say, yeah, it's my team, so I'm going to back you up. But so
okay, so he's focused on this idea of it's my team, so I must back you up. The tribalism of feminism.
say, so the main definition, I think that is the main thing you have in mind, and the last part may be hard to reconcile, but I'm not.
Okay, so he finds it difficult to reconcile this, okay, with this. Difficult to reconcile. Two parts. Okay, so that's what he's trying to say. That over here, a feminist is a person who works for women's equality, whether outcome or opportunity. The word for women's individual self. So all of that, a woman works against male domination. But then over here, it's anything that harms women. I think he just didn't see the traps within here anyway, or didn't think about them. I don't know. I'm not seeing the huge irreconcilable bit here. Maybe if I look at my diagram closer, I'll understand it more. I think you can still get the unjust demands. You could smuggle in the unjust demands right here. Anyway, like you said, the words women's individual, women's liberation, and women's interests. So here, this women's interests could be women's interests over men. Okay, so.
Not sure.
So we've had two sort of opening volleys of criticisms already levied during the charitable definition stage of the debate. So
academics.
Let's start establishing the points of disagreement. Right.
Yeah.
So Holly's...
Oh, love that. Establish the point of disagreement. Yes. Okay, I'm going to put that as the main topic. Establishing the point of disagreement. Nicely done, Louise. I'm actually going to put her color here. Oops. Okay, and put that here. Okay, nice.
Criticism of Bryan is this kind of encouraging of point scoring, almost sibling rivalry. And I think we've discussed this, you and I, Bryan, before as well, that I think that this is a trap one falls into where you end up just tallying up, okay, well, men don't live as long as women, but then women suffer more rape or whatever it is. And you end up with this possibly fruitless battle.
Oppression Olympics between the genders. So encouraging most of academics. Okay, right. So Holly's criticism of Bryan is this kind of encouraging of point scoring. Okay, Holly's criticism of Bryan. So she is doing really good, really well as the moderator here, because she's showing, she is summarizing their points. She has heard them. She's structuring the discussion by restating the salient points, the points that we need to move forward on. So criticism of Bryan is that it's kind of encouraging of point scoring with sibling rivalry. Okay, leads to, it's a trap. A trap one falls into where you end up just tallying up who suffers more. Okay, so that's me summarizing her. Okay. Let's actually make your text black. Right. Cool. What's next?
Between feminists and non-feminists. The other criticism that Bryan has levied at Holly just now is, what if a feminist is obliged to advocate on behalf of women's interests or of women's demands, what if those demands are completely unreasonable?
Okay. So I like that. What if okay, if a feminist is obliged, sorry, I'm expecting all women to be feminists. If a feminist is obliged to be, to advocate on behalf of women's interests or women's demands, what if that was a bad? What if those were unreasonable? For instance, if a woman decides that abortion, just normal elective abortion, because I feel like it at 9 months is illegal, but I want to make it legal. You as a feminist are obliged to do that, right? If a feminist is obliged to advocate on behalf of women's interests or of women's demands, what if those demands are completely unreasonable? Okay.
Is a feminist obliged nonetheless to say that whatever women want they ought to get? Is that her job or his job? As we've just established, men can be feminists too. Maybe we should start with, since Holly raised it first, Bryan, do you have a response to this issue of fruitless point scoring? Is that where we end up getting trapped in this conversation?
Okay, Bryan's response. Bryan have a response. Okay, cool. So she's asking Bryan, yesly done. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think point scoring is fruitless.
I don't think point scoring is fruitless. Wow. Isn't fruitless. Okay. It's points. It's it's not pointless.
There's a whole effective altruism movement, which is all about, well, how should we go and spend our philanthropic energy? And yes, a very big part is saying, well, what are actually the biggest problems and what can we do about them? And when you were deciding how you're going to spend your philanthropic energy, these are very reasonable questions to start with.
Okay, so he does say you've got to. It is about prioritizing where you put your philanthropic energy. When deciding, sorry. Spend philanthropic energy. this is relevant. Let me try and see if I can just put the name drop the there is something called the whole effect of altruism. What is it called? Of altruism movement. Okay. Okay, so that's his response, is that, well, actually you do. These points are very important. So if we look at it, the people that are suffering the most need the help. So that's it. Would he be therefore against helping women?
You know, I would also just say that, just to sound like a child, I didn't start this. I mean, I think so I think most of the moral energy of feminism comes from the sense that they definitely are being treated less fairly than men. And I've got some quotes from Holly's book that I can go over, but I don't know if we need even more quotes. But, you know, just like,
considering the way Holly writes, I don't know.
You really get a lot of moral energy from the idea it's just definitely a matter
or maybe the way he reads her, sorry.
But, you know, just again, you really get a lot of moral energy from the idea it's just definitely a matter of current and historical fact that women have been treated less fairly than men. And so now we want to go and have a discussion of this to get it rectified. You know, of course, I can totally understand someone saying I haven't been treated unfairly, but I'm an advocate. Like someone's a lawyer for somebody, and it's like their position isn't, or you better get a manager negotiating contract. And the position of your manager is not, my client has been treated unfairly by this publisher since time immemorial. Their job is just to advocate. But there is still a big difference in terms of the attitude of someone who thinks that they have a moral justification on their side versus someone who is just bargaining.
Okay, so he's got quite a thing about this moral, calls it moral energy behind feminism, comes from the idea that women have been unfairly treated for millennia, for time immemorial. Okay. Probably didn't spell that right. Well, I'm waiting for it to tell me. So unfairly by this published since time immemorial. He would not mind if it was just, this is separate to, different to simply advocating for a group. Without claiming to be part of it, without claiming be unfairly treated. So you could look out for women without this, we've always been oppressed. You could be like, well, you gotta watch out for this whole idea. Daisy, I see you. Come here, mommy. Come say hello. Daisy just had a snack, so she is ready to come and say hello to everybody. Come. Come, do. I put your blanket here. This is Daisy's blanket. She's going into the drawer. The drawer. Okay. Come, baby. Yeah, say hi. That's a girl. Good girl, do. Yeah, make my computer dirty. Yeah. See it. Okay, she come here. She say hello. She say hello. Good girl. Do? Yeah, so you're gonna be a feminist. Feminist do. Feminist do. Daisy has a pink background as an emote. So she is very much female coded. She's a trad cat. Okay. That has been your Daisy butt for today.
I think that it's very hard to say that more than a sliver of feminism is just the pure bargaining one of advocacy. I think it is.
Okay, sorry. The pure bargaining. Okay.
Is much more about, we've got a moral imperative, we have been mistreated. And once someone says that, then the question is, all right, well, is that true compared to what?
Can I just ask you back on the, because you got
trad cats. Yeah, we got trad cats.
Before you move on too far, like back on the effective altruism point, I can take that point that like the way we should decide which movements to give our energy to or which projects should be really like a very serious calculation of where we can get the most bang for our buck and who really is the worst off in which ways. But then if that's your view or your criticism of feminism, why do you only do the point scoring between men and women? Why not also race and poverty and health and public goods?
Okay, so her response to this is, okay, understood. Why only apply to point scoring to sex? Why not race? So all the other bits of DEI, right? All of the other identity characteristics that we've so come to love in the past 20 years. So why not race? Why not poverty or class? Health, public goods. Why are you only focusing on men? Okay. Maybe it's that is like a substrate, because across the board, at the basis level, males need more. If you improve males, females actually benefit so much more. So wouldn't it be that if you empower the males, you got much better chances for your females? Hey there, cats and kittens. Hey Josh, how you doing? Did you vote in the poll?
So the main reason is I just thought I had something novel to say about this, which I hadn't heard other people say. I think it's great to go and do all those other issues. I teach labor economics class where we go over a lot of these other issues.
Okay, hold up. Did you answer?
Oh, and thought I had some
race and poverty and health and public goods.
So the main reason is I just thought I had something novel to say about this, which I hadn't heard other people say. I think it's great to go and do all those other issues. I teach labor economics class where we go over a lot of these other issues just to get a handle on what's really going on. Happy to do all of those, really.
But is that actually your objection? It's not so much that men are actually worse off or just as badly off as women. It's that there are just way more important justice projects than either sex's issues.
Well, I mean, just to...
No, I don't think that's a good way of discussion. You see, this is not blood sports, boys. Well done. So she's taken the ideas and said, okay, well, this is a position you can have. Thinking, considering what I've heard, this is a position you could have, and she's testing that position with him. Is that your objection? Is this what your problem is? And he is then allowed to say, no, it's not. That's not my idea. So understood. Why is it? So he's like, yeah, it's good. So it was kind of a weak response there, where it was just like, yeah, he's happy. What did he say? I just thought I had something novel to say about this, which I hadn't heard people say. So he just brought it up because it's new. I think it's great to go and do all those other issues. Okay. And handle on really, but that's not it though. That's not good enough for me. Oh yeah, it's great to do that. But your objection needs to be about, if your objection is that point scoring is, you're using a point scoring, well, it was her objection that he's using a point scoring motive or whatever. Is his objection that, hold on, let me just go back to my diagram here. Okay, more fairly, she brought up the objection, actually. She did. Yeah, the sibling rivalry comparison. It's her objection. It's her objection that, well, then again, it's not this was still an objection. So she gave the definition, and this is her objection, or the thing that stood out to her was that we get into a point scoring idea. And then when that was brought up, he said, well, it's not fruitless, it's actually important. Okay, it's important when deciding to spend our philanthropic energy. It's relevant. they understood, so why only apply the points to sex? Why not look at race? Because if we're going to race and poverty and all of those other good things, then we could move our philanthropic energy towards those things. That's her thing. She's asking, why would you care about the sexes? And he's like, yeah, it's great. That doesn't help, but I think the way she words it here is pretty good. Is it that there's just way more important justice projects than either of the sex issues? Like she should. It's not it's that she didn't say it's that. Is it? She said is it that there are just way more more than the sex issues? Because if he says no, the sex issues are important and men's rights are more important, then she can tackle him on that. The Oppression Olympics, absolutely. It is very much Oppression Olympics, because it's like who is treated more unfairly in society.
Back up. So there's a big difference between being worse off
As women, it's that there are just way more important justice projects than either sex's issues.
Well, I mean, just to back up. So there's a big difference between being worse off and being unfairly treated.
Definitely.
Yeah, so someone.
Okay, there's a difference between being worse off and being unfairly treated. Interesting. So you can be unfairly treated, but not worse off. Okay. That's a very big deal. Okay, there's a difference. Being worse off and being unfairly. Well, it makes sense that people would make those things equivalent. If I'm being treated unfairly, I'm probably worse off, right? That's the only reason we ever really talk about being treated unfairly. It's because we're worse off than somebody else. We want to be treated as fairly as that person. We want to get what they're getting. That's usually why we're talking about fairness in the first place.
Could be born blind. No one has done anything to them. It's nobody's fault, and yet they're badly off.
Sure.
Okay, so example, born blind, worse off, but not unfairly treated. Okay. Wouldn't it be that, I don't know, then we should, instead of men trying to, I don't think they are, but men's rights activists trying to make life easier for women. I mean, for men. They should make life more difficult for women so that we are equal. So make the women go to war. Make the women, be the provider. Make them do all of those things. But it doesn't feel like the males movement is doing that. My sense of men's rights movements is just take care of men. They understand that they go through a lot, understand that they have a lot of pressure and they are not the devil. That's what I get from, as a woman, maybe I'm just not understanding it correctly. You guys can tell me. Men's rights movements are not about getting an easier life for men. It's about just fucking stop being so shit to me. That's about it. Stop seeing men as the enemy is what I get from them, rather than women need to get in the mines and women need to get in the sewers. I'm sure there might be some really, really red pill guys that want women in the mines. So let's make a new poll, seeing as we've let this one go on for quite a while. Let me check this one. Yes, Daisy, sit on my lap. Daisy G. So cute. Just hold on. We are at no, 72%. So our poll ended at 72% no, with 29 votes. I think that's pretty good. You know what? I want 30 votes. Has anyone here not voted? Wise One, have you voted? Hey, Wise One. Please vote so we have 30 votes, because I want the round number. I decided. No, Wise One, don't retract your message. Yes, you go. Okay, put Daisy in the mines. She living too good right now. Daisy, can you imagine how black Daisy's fur would go? I'm doing my part. Okay, let me just see. You did your part, you see? No, still 29 votes. Daisy is displeased. She's leaving. See, she left. Put Daisy in the mine. Can you imagine my poor Daisy do? Starship Troopers! I want my net worth engraved on my headstone. Well, it minus cost of headstone. That's my feminist utopia. Okay, guys, I just want one vote. Is there every one of you has voted? What's your opinion on the British Empire? They managed fully or partially colonized warmer areas like Australia or South Africa. What about them? 28% want feminist daughters. Okay. What'll Daisy do with whittle pickaxe? I need to look. I don't have access to Grok Imagine yet, so I'll make one of those and make it my my wallpaper. Like, you better work today, kitty, because otherwise Daisy's gonna land up in the mines. Come on. They have mixed showers for the Starship Troopers Federation. Nice, Andrew. Okay, fine. Fuck you guys. I'm ending the poll because none of you wanted to get me to 30. None of you. None of you. Come on. 14 of you. Like, out of all of you, you've all voted. I'm very proud. Okay, fine. End poll. The new poll is, should women send women to the mines for equality? 29 is a prime number though. Okay, Josh. You've made me happy about it. Send women to the mines for equality. Yes. No. No one minds. There we go. No one minds or no. Only men mind. Okay, there you go. Answer now, guys. We got a new poll. No, less effective. Always efficiency with Hydra. I appreciate it. Some numbers are more prime than others. Oh, shit. Okay. Send women to the mines. Make the question more straightforward. No, then you... anti-trad. So anti-trad wants to go to the mines considering the name. No, only men mine is 60% so far. Okay. Cool, guys. I'm glad you guys don't want to send me to the mine because I'm useless, is essentially what Hydra's saying. Hydra, don't worry. I know you're not saying it's because I'm useless. You're saying it's because it's less effective. Because we just don't have the muscle capacity and the lung capacity even, considering Gordon is a smoker, but he's got that huge chest. Every man needs a sign that says, boys only, no girls allowed. Yeah, girls drool. Boys rule. Okay, let's continue. You missed an option, only women mine. Oh, this is true. Should I, you know what? Wait, I need to redo it. I do need to redo it. In the name of equality, I need to redo it. You is correct. Sorry, guys. You're going to have to re-vote. Delete end poll. Making a new one. Start a poll. Send women to the mines. Yes. Both sexes mine. No. Only men mine. Yes. Only women mine. No. No one minds. Okay. There we go. Grok will mind for us, guys. There you go. Even when women are pregnant, you know what, we'll sterilize them. It's fine. Okay, they don't need to. We'll figure out how to grow babies in ovens over there, in little artificial wombs. We don't need all of that. 7 years of hard labor in the mines. You know what did PewDiePie used to say? to the farm. Send them to the farm, to the ranch, to the ranch. 7 years on the ranch is for petty crimes. 7 years in the mines is for major crimes.
That's why I like to focus on the treated more or less unfairly issue. Being
Okay, hold on. Don't machines do the hard work in mines? Do they still pickaxe and shit? I think in Africa they do. It's probably people still get the black lung and stuff in third world countries. Of course, the cobalt mines. Go and look at that. I think it's called. Yeah, those ones are fun times. 100 years on the ranch.
worse off and
It's that there are just way more important justice projects than either sex's issues.
Well, I mean, just to back up, see, there's a big difference between being worse off and being unfairly treated.
Definitely.
So someone could be born blind, no one has done anything to them, it's nobody's fault, and yet they're badly off.
Okay, cool. We've got that principle played out here. So men can be, so that would mean, because of this principle you've just brought here, we could say that men could be worse off than women, but not treated unfairly. That would work.
That's why I like to focus on the treated more or less unfairly issue rather than just what are the raw living standards or anything like that.
Okay, so that's why. So you can be worse off but not fairly untreated. So it's better. Therefore, it's better. Or therefore, he prefers to focus on. So I don't know. I think in her definition, she's more focused on it, not him. But anyway, no one has done anything to them. It's nobody's fault. Treat them more. That's why I like to focus. So you did say I like to focus on the more treated more or less fairly, or less fairly issue. That does make more sense as well. If we're talking about fairness, maybe we could change more things about fairness than about who's worse off and stuff. If we just got a function of who gets strife in the world, we can't really do much with that formula. But in terms of the coefficient of unfairness, we can keep it down. That would work. That's something we could work on. Okay.
But even if you restricted your attention to the man-made problems, presumably it wouldn't just be the sexes, right? Like race would still be in there, and many minority social group issues would still be in there.
Sure.
Oh, I know, and I hate it. You have to have you can't be an activist for anything. You have to be an activist for everything. Okay, because you are treating it. So her thing is fine. Raw living standards, whatever, it would just be the. Oh, sorry. Let me put this here. Rather than raw living standards. Rather than raw living standards. Or anything like that. So she's saying even if you restricted your attention to the man-made problems, presumably it wouldn't just be the sexes, okay? Even if to man-made problems wouldn't be just sexes. There would be race. I'll just put it here. Race. Thing still be there. Many minorities. Race. Okay, she just puts race because it's the first one that comes up. Still be there in other minority social group issues. Okay, fun times because if you gotta be woke, you gotta be very, very woke. Okay, you can't just be woke on one issue.
I mean, those are all on the table. I just say that there's a finite amount of time to go and handle them, and this is one where I thought I had a good marginal contribution, but I mean, this does not settle.
Oh no, sorry, I'm not criticizing you writing an essay on this topic. I'm just asking you, is the explanation of your criticism of feminism actually that of all the man-made unfairness problems, the sexes aren't the worst off and shouldn't be anyone's priority. Why do you only talk about male versus female in the essay?
Just because a lot of other people are talking about it, and I think they're mistaken. So,
yeah, that's true. So, okay, so she does ask. That's quite a good example. Why do you talk about male only versus female? The reason she asks, okay, is it that is your question? That she repeats her question. That the sexes not the most discussion. Okay, so he's just like, well, everybody else is talking about it. That's why I spoke about it. You guys are busy being feminists, so I'm saying I'm commenting on your discussion here. Okay, so just talking about it. Others are talking about it. That is what that's what academics do. Like, oh, well, this is relevant because everybody else is talking about it. I'm going to chime in. It's the same thing with YouTubers. Oh, well, somebody made a video about this. Maybe I should talk about it too.
You might remember, like the letters addressed to my daughter, and my main thing is, well, out of all the views that I think are wrong, that I think my daughter's likely to adopt, this is near the top of the list. And so I wanted to talk to her about this one. It's also one I thought she's likely to ask me eventually. So I wanted to do the work of having an answer ready.
Okay, but then why was your strategy not like, oh, hey, like this Native Americans or something issue is a lot more important than feminism? Why was your strategy, look how badly off men are?
Right.
Because she's going to be given, for me, my answer would be, she's going to be given the story that women are the worst off. She's going to be given that. She's not going to be given the other consideration. His strategy is to bring out the other side of the story because he thinks that's what's going to be missing. This is what I've understood from him talking about it. The collection of essays is to be speaking to his daughter, right, about this stuff. Others are talking about it. I will say letters addressed to my daughter. Don't want daughter adopting this worldview. So she's asking, why is the strategy then to talk about the how did she word it? Look how badly off men are. Badly off men are. Okay. So if that's the case, it's he's supposed to say, why isn't it that, oh, you must think of how badly off everyone else is? Why don't you make her woke still? Why are you taking her off the woke thing?
Because I didn't think that my daughter is likely to become a Native American rights activist or the opposite.
Okay, so we'll just talk about why not emphasize the plight of Native Americans. Yeah, so his answer is didn't think it was likely she'd have the view. That view. Or its opposite, okay? I think, yeah, that's quite an easy, quick way to say it. But yeah, the point is, this is her having that view. She would need it corrected. I wonder if Holly is going to go back into this question or whether she's going to leave it. Because you could go back into it and say, yeah, but your strategy is to keep her away from this idea. This is not really answering your question. Because she said, why is the strategy to talk about how badly off men are? The strategy, what he wants to do is to address bad worldviews that his daughter might come up with at some point, or might hold, or bad as in flawed, okay? And he would need to point out their flaws. So her question is, why is your strategy not to point out that there are Native Americans that are worse off than just women, so focus on those groups instead? That's her question. But she's like, oh, well, he actually has misunderstood her question there. I wonder. I am busy, guys. Wade is also South African, guys. So Wade can answer your questions. And I think Wise One's also South African.
Yeah, like I'm trying to address a view that people already have and saying, look, not that. I mean, on the one hand, you're right. So like just saying, look, this isn't something that should be your priority doesn't decide what should be your priority.
Right.
But at the same time, if a lot of people think that something should be a priority and they're mistaken about it, I think there's still a lot of value in letting them know.
Yes, that's what he was doing. He was doing what he is saying is this is not this should not be your priority. Well, this shouldn't be your view because it is flawed, because look at the other side of this. All he's doing is giving the other side. You're an Afrikaner, yes. There.
I think also another point that Bryan...
I think you guys would know better to answer the questions than me, anyway.
I think there's
right.
But at the same time, if a lot of people think that something should be a priority and they're mistaken about it, I think there's still a lot of value in letting them know.
I think also another point that Bryan engages with, which I think we need to get onto at some point in this conversation, is not just is feminism virtuous or a feminist claims true, but also the motion is, should we encourage our daughters to be feminism? Is it good to be a feminist? Does it make your life better to be a feminist? And
ooh, does it make your life better to be a feminist? Okay. Are we going to get onto that now? I hope that we are. Okay, but I think we haven't gotten this. We haven't gotten to this point yet, so maybe she'll bring it later. So I'll put it here as a to get to later. Bryan is it virtuous to be a feminist? Does it make your life better to be a feminist? I don't think so. I think it will make you quite miserable. It will make you walk through the world with a critical lens that will upset you, because I've experienced it myself. I know exactly what it's like. You actually do start questioning your value. You start measuring yourself up against men when you weren't doing that before. You start looking at your lot compared to a man's lot and wondering what you bring to the table versus what a man brings to the table. And you will find out that it's going to make you quite disillusioned. Morning, Zaxi. Do you have coffee in the morning, Zax? Are you a coffee drinker? Boing! Okay, does it make life better? Let's go.
I think that this, as you say, is more pressing for your daughter, who is a real person, but also for anyone's hypothetical daughter, because she's more likely to become a feminist than she is to become some other style of activist.
Okay, let me put this back there because she does make it relevant. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put it here to get to this later, but also relevant to Bryan's daughter. It's more likely she become a feminist than she is to become another style of activist. In my view, I'm wondering if feminism and things like this actually, if it's breeding. One of the things that I've just, it's on my to watch list. It is Sad Woman. It's called the I think it's by think it's a video by what's her name? One of the trans creators that I follow. And I think he is right. He is talking about sad women and how they might be. They're part of the reason that we're getting a lot of female to male trans people. Okay, yes, we have the problematic orthogonophilic male to female non-real trans people, but we also have the females that would just be lesbian. Really, it's the same thing. We're losing lesbian people and gay people to transgenderism because they're like, oh, I need to be the complete opposite sex instead of the same sex attracted. So sad woman. I need to. That might be. I know we're supposed to have fun on Fridays, but that might be a cool thing to react to, or maybe we'd even diagram it if it's video essay worthy. So Leon's a sad woman. Sad woman video. Why basically there are a lot of female to male, and then they also realize how difficult it is. Remember, we there was that journalist who lived as a man for a while, and she hated it, right? But a feminist viewpoint could make you say the only way that I am valuable in society is if I am a man. So is that part of this movement towards sad women becoming sad men instead? It's like saying I like it. Okay, cool. Morning Zaxi, you sexy mofo. Yeah. Check your DMs, Kitty. I can't believe you don't do that to Daisy, to be honest. Do what to her? Let me see. What did you do this to me, Kitty? Oh, my poor Daisy do. Oh, this makes me so sad. It's just a cartoon, but it makes me so sad. I hate you. Oh. Hold on. Obviously, I've got to zoom out. Oh, poor baby girl. No, Dee. She's so dusty. Oh, I would absolutely never. It makes me so emotional to even think of cartoon Daisy being mistreated. That's horrible. Don't do that. Josh, don't laugh. Don't laugh at that. Would you put your floofs in a mine? Poor baby. Right. I want Western societies that practice Buddhism. Good luck with that. Cultures evolve. The choice isn't stagnant. It isn't A and B. Murphy is sad woman when I don't play fetch with her. You know what? Daisy used to play fetch. Axie used to play fetch. They don't play fetch anymore. They just don't like the toys that I've made and I've gotten. They don't do it. I think let me take a 2-minute break. I need to get a cup of coffee. And I don't think I'll play the poopy song. I'll let you guys chill for a sec. Okay? Just get the normal. You might hear me because I'm going to leave the background music on. So here you go. Titi mama. Titi mama. Suits do. Suits do. All right, shenanigans over. We can't hear the music, by the way. What the hell? So you haven't been able to hear the music for the whole time, and you just don't say nothing. So you could just hear me only. Okay, I changed it. What kind of coffee? Women need the minds. Can you hear it now? You should be able to hear it. Yeah. I can see it. Just a little soft. Oh, okay. I mean, I could make it a little bit high. You know what? It was fine. You guys, we were good on. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Did I do something here? Ah, it was because of. Watch this. Did it change? Because I had reduced mic background noise on. Super soft relative to other streams. Okay, it should change now. Now did it go higher? Because usually we had it on 2% and that was it. We had it, I did not change it earlier, but the thing is I changed my StreamYard settings for recording earlier. Okay, so just let me know if it's too loud now, because it should technically be too loud. In terms of what coffee I have the Lore Nespresso capsule, Nespresso compatible, what's the name, coffee. I do have, it's ristretto, but it is decaf. So, although when I do want caffeine in my coffee, I just put instant coffee in it. I'm such a pleb. I really am. I am not fancy at all. Same thing with wine. Look, I can enjoy good wine, but most of the time, if it's wine, I'm probably going to enjoy it. If it's coffee, I'm probably going to enjoy it. If I don't enjoy your wine or your coffee, it must really be bad. So. Okay, I have my book back, guys. I have my little book. So, I must remember to put my notes from the whiteboard onto it. There's nothing wrong with being a pleb. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Right, plebs and what? And aristocrats. Yes, I said aristocrats. Okay, relevant to Bryan's daughter. We are but products of our environment. Men and women aren't equally good or bad or at different things. We aren't equally good at bad at things. Yeah, as individuals. So you're thinking about individuals. Okay, so let us get into it. What I want to get through today is 20 minutes, so we're almost there.
I mean, I think we can imagine scenarios where being any other kind of activist could also be bad for you in some way, as well as being unvirtuous or untruthful. But this is particularly relevant to this podcast as well. So that's why I think it's worthwhile to look at this particular dispute between men and women. Holly, do you want to respond on this question of, I think that you concede, but a lot of feminists wouldn't necessarily concede, that there are some circumstances in which women are privileged over men.
Yeah, I got that. I certainly got that idea from her, that she would concede it. whereas other feminists wouldn't. I'm in agreement with Louise on this. I thought she was going to talk about this here, but fine, we'll go into this question here. Does Bryan have a response? Okay, her next one. So I think we'll do it here. Would you concede? It seems a question for Holly. It is. The thing is, this is still has to do with this. So maybe I should move it here. Okay. It's part of this main topic here about who is more oppressed and whatever. Any concession by a woman is tactical at best. Hey, Emperor. Good to see ya. Question for Holly. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what she does. Maybe let's see if you're right about this. Also, what was your vote in the poll? Where are we at with that? Let me just check it. Yes, only women in mine. Only women mine. We're at 37%. Good times. Question for Holly. It seems like you concede. Maybe she won't. Okay. Keep them kids quiet. People out there yelling in the thing. Okay. Do you want to respond on the question of? I think that you concede. You concede. A lot of feminists wouldn't necessarily concede that in some circumstances women are privileged over men. Okay. You can't deny that. You absolutely cannot deny that. Okay. I suppose what a feminist should say is that doesn't matter, right? That it doesn't matter, that you should still care about the circumstances in which women are not privileged over men. These privileges don't. I think a staunch feminist, so me, I would say, I'm not staunch feminist, but I would say, yeah, those privileges do not outweigh unfairness. I would like to have more privilege. And we can make men more privileged as well. Let's see how that goes. But the staunch feminist, on the other hand, would say it doesn't matter. Those privileges are not good enough. Those privileges are actually oppression. That's another thing that they might say, because your privilege of being able to stay at home and have an easier life is actually because there's an unequal treatment. So maybe that would happen, but I don't know. She seems to be a different kind of feminist. So let's see. So big bad guy, you got redirected to the stream. That's pretty cool, but you're still not subscribed. So why don't you give that subscribe button a bit of love? If you want. Let us not speak of the stank feminists. The Harry Potter lady is my type of feminist. The turf kind. She actually she's quite woke. Like she could be an obnoxious feminist if she wanted, but right now, considering the way she's been treated by more obnoxious feminists, she's come down.
Do you think that, do you think that that's true? And also, I suppose, if that is true, does that undermine feminism necessarily?
Okay, yeah. If it's true, is that true? Woo! Somebody just skidded on their tires. Is that true? If it is, does it undermine feminism? Yeah, so either you have to say it's not true, therefore you don't have to deal with the undermining bit, or if it is true, you have to deal with the undermining bit and you have to explain away the undermining. So, let's go, feminist lady, tell us. What's the argument? No, I think she's changed, Wise One. I think she's become quite measured.
So we've talked about conscription as one example. There are other examples of, say, men are more likely to do more dangerous jobs than women are. Men are less preferred in certain thought experiments, like there's the women are wonderful cognitive bias, where people tend to favor women when they're asked whose life they want to save in some scenario.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So her examples. She's got conscription, saving women, wonderful woman. What's wonderful woman? Is that what it's called? Certain experiments, there's a woman are wonderful. Sorry. Saving women is preferred. Women are wonderful, and then the dangerous jobs. Yeah. She's just giving you some examples just to deal with, and then asked whose life they would save. What do you make of these situations when it seems it's men that are on the back
What
foot?
do you make of these situations where it seems that it's men that are on the back foot?
I think those kind of challenges don't threaten me because I'm not in the point scoring business, right? It's certainly true that if I accepted Bryan's definition of feminism, then those would be big challenges for me and I should not be a feminist. If Bryan's right about who a feminist is, I'm not a feminist. That's a silly thing to be. But I don't know of any feminist, and I have read a lot of feminism.
Oof. I know there are. Well, there's people that call themselves feminists, but I suppose you're talking about academic feminists. But I don't know, there are some really staunch academic feminists as well, so fine, we'll take your word for it, but I'm sure Louise would know of them. Have read academic feminists. So, examples, conscription, saving women is preferred. So hers is, well, she doesn't have to deal with that because she's not in the points scoring. Not in the points scoring business. So it doesn't have to deal with that. Those kinds of challenges don't threaten me. Kinds of challenges aren't a threat. Okay. If I accepted Bryan's definition, so let's put that there. Bryan's definition. I would, those would be big challenges. Okay, big challenges, then those would be big challenges. I shouldn't be a feminist. Okay, so that's not what being a feminist is. She isn't the feminist that views the world as mostly having men on top. Women are unfairly treated and men have it good. Okay, so she doesn't have that. I don't like this thing where I don't know if any feminist would agree with this. Just talk about what you think, okay? You don't have to astroturf for your tribe, okay? Just talk about what you think. But okay.
I don't know of anyone who would say like, oh, just tally up in a totally unprincipled way, by the way, like all the bads and goods of human existence, and whoever is the winner, you should champion them. Like,
okay, I guess you just haven't exposed yourself to other feminists, right? So she's denying that no feminist would view it this way. Tallying up rights and wrongs. Well, the wild feminist on the street, the non-academic. So what happened is the academics went and spread the whole thing in colleges, and then it went out into the wild. The TikTok feminists are doing that, honey. So you got to try and do something about them. Like, they also exist. They're out there, okay? The TikTok ones are the TikTok ones are getting a lot more views than your research paper, okay? So those feminists are out there and they need to be addressed. And you could address them as well. No feminist would view it this way, tallying up rights and wrongs of humanity and championing the winner. Most wronged. Right. Okay, so that's not feminism, guys, but I would say, okay, so that could be an example of moving the goalpost, but she's being honest and saying, no, this is not what feminist is for myself. And he did read her definition. So in her definition, a feminist is a person who works for women's equality, whether of outcome or opportunity. They work for women's individual self-determination, women's liberation, or women's interests. A person who works against male domination. That can be easily twisted, right? That can be that line there. A person who works against male domination could go into this whole idea of the unfairness, but we'll take her word for it, and we will be charitable and say, no, she really means what she says. Feminism is not about that. It's just about it is just about advocacy for women. It's not about being against men. You don't understand. Real feminism has never really been tried, and you should ignore all historical counterfactuals. TikTok is wild, bro, with that. It's crazy. It's sad.
Nobody says that. They point.
Nobody say. I love that's that thing. Nobody says that. No, it's not happening, and then we prove it's happening, and then they go, well, that's a good thing.
To like a historical.
I'm not saying she will do this, but that's generally the cycle we go through on the internet. Is with politics on the internet. It's not happening. Proves it happening. Oh, that's a good thing. Okay.
Historical justification. How women have been treated throughout history, of anyone who would say like, oh, just tally up in a totally unprincipled way, by the way, like all the bads and goods of human existence, and whoever is the winner, you should champion them. Like nobody says that. They point to like a historical justification, how women have been treated throughout history in every country. And we can, of course, argue.
How is that not point scoring?
Yes! Yeah, how is that not point scoring? So I'm not understanding. Wait, maybe she wasn't finished her point, but okay. That was funny because I was like, whoa. I think stop, woman, stop. So let me copy paste here so I can just get the exact words. No one would say that. So nobody says that. So nobody says find the lowest point, the lowest person, and what they would say. So what they would say is this. So no feminist would view it this way, but they point to like the historical. So it's to a certain kind of, I think that's the truth, is that it's a certain kind of unfairness. Okay. But I think Bryan has a point here that this injustice, this historical injustice, is something that drives their movement. So they need to focus on that historical injustice. They have to bring that to the fore. All right, calm down. Groovy's back. Welcome, Groovy. They point a historical they point to a historical justification. How women have been treated. Okay. So it's just maybe her point is that it's how women themselves have been treated. Just women. We don't have to think about what men were doing. Not point scoring anymore. No. It's just focusing. It's not point scoring. It's focusing on one point, one group of points. It's not point scoring. It's ignoring the others and looking at this. It's already focusing on that. So we're not talking about everybody else's points. We're only talking about our points. That's I think that's the way she's going. So nobody talks about tallying up the points. We just look at the way women have been in every country, in history, in every country. Okay? In history, in every country. Okay? Okay, and look at history and say, this is just how it was. Okay, so here, this is her example. Okay.
You go and look at history and say this is just how it was.
Okay, so he this is his thing. So he interrupts her. Maybe she was gonna give us a point. She was gonna cook. Let her cook. The point of historical justification. Why interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake? They point to a historical justification how women have been treated in history across every country, in every country. Then he goes, well, isn't that point scoring? How is that? How is that not point scoring? Okay. Because we're not looking at any other group. That's how it's not point scoring, because we're not comparing ourselves to any other group. But we are also, because we're saying we didn't have the rights that another group had.
I mean, sorry, but you're not going to say like, oh, there was slavery, but it's like point scoring to point out that white people were the owners, right? Like that.
Okay, let me go back.
Women have been treated throughout history in every country, and we
don't need to laugh.
can of course argue.
How is that not point scoring?
We can of course argue. See, it would have been better. How is that not point scoring?
If you go and look at history and say this is just how it was.
I mean, sorry, but you're not going to say like, oh, there was slavery, but it's like point scoring to point out that white people were the owners, right?
Okay, her example is there was slavery. You won't say, but there is slavery. Wait, you're not going to say there was slavery, but it's point scoring to point out it was slavery. But sorry, you won't say it was point scoring. To point out white people were the owners. Actually, that's exactly what is done. This is not a good example. This is not a good example so far, because maybe she just didn't word it properly, because you won't say it was point scoring to point out white people were the owners. Well, actually, yes, that is exactly how it works with the theory. Is the black people were the oppressed ones. White people were better off. They didn't have the same rights. The slaves didn't have the same rights. Okay, wait. She's saying that we wouldn't call that point scoring, but we're still using this point scoring thing. So
like, that's just a fact about history.
Okay, so we can just say it's just a fact about history. Okay. Instead, you would say it's just a fact about history. I think you're definitely, that's part of why you're going to care about race, isn't it?
Like, you believe in oppression in some cultural circumstances, right?
Right. So, like, I don't generally agree that women in earlier times were treated less fairly than men. I just say people were extremely poor and lives were really hard.
But you understand that women were property at a certain point and could be raped in marriage, right? You know that that's a fact, or not?
Okay. So, I mean, those are points, right? That they couldn't own property. They yes, marital rape was is fine. Property, I don't know if we can say exactly property. They were treated like property. Were they property, as in you were signed over? It's very important for you. Were you slaves? So hold up, we've got, instead it's just a fact about history. She's going to go further with it and say, I don't generally get that women in earlier times. So, okay, she asks, you believe in oppression in some cultural circumstances, right? So I think her question actually was, you agree that there was, maybe she meant more specifically oppression of women in certain cultural circumstances, but maybe she is just referring to, yeah, you believe in oppression when it comes to race. You can really understand. Okay, I'm getting what she meant here is that, like, when we're talking, when we agree on the fact that slavery was oppression, we don't go, well, you know, the white people also were not, there were lots of poor white people as well, and white people also suffered, and whatever, it's point scoring. No, we actually just go, yeah, they were oppressed because they were. But the thing is, with this example of slavery, there is no privilege. There is absolutely no privilege in being a slave. Okay, whereas in a woman being property, there is privilege. She gets safety most of the time, but then she also gets raped, so we have to juggle with that idea. But there is definitely privilege that she has. It's not exactly the same as being a slave. So, like, you believe in oppression in some cultural circumstances, and then race and gender are not analogous. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I don't generally agree that women in earlier times were treated less fairly than men. I just say people were extremely poor and they had difficult lives. Okay. You see how non-edgy he is when he says this compared to yesterday's lady, Pearly Wannabe. He's just like, yeah, well, I just say they had a really bad life. That's it. He's not like, ooh, look at me, I'm an edgy boy. Women were not oppressed. Me. He's not. He's just like, here you go. I don't generally agree that women in earlier times were treated less fairly than men. I just say people were extremely poor and lives were really hard. It's interesting the way you say stuff. Hey, Davina.
So I know some version of that. I think it's a bit more complicated than what you're saying.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, well, it depends.
Okay, so wait, really hard. They were really hard. You know that it's okay. So also, it's silly to do this. You know that's a fact, right? You know that's a fact. Relax. Stop doing that. Okay, just be a normal person and discuss things. But you understand women were property. Look, you don't have to rephrase it that way. You could say, but women were property, and then let him say they weren't. Okay, you don't have to say, but you know, right? Oh my God, you know. I'm just nitpicking here. But you understand that women were property at a certain point and could be raped in marriage, right? You know that that's a fact, or not? Are you just dumb? Are you just dumb? That's basically what she's. I did not like this phrasing, but okay. But you understand that women are property at a certain point and could be. Okay, I think that's a fact or not. Or not. Like, really, we don't have to be this way. Let us know. Let's go back here.
Extremely poor and lives were really hard.
but you understand that women were property at a certain point and could be raped in marriage, right? You know that that's a fact or not?
So I know some version of that. I think it's a bit more complicated than what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean,
Well, it depends upon the society. It depends upon what the actual norms are, so on.
Can I slightly rephrase this question to you, Bryan? Would you concede, Bryan, that there have been societies historically, there are societies still now, in which your definition of feminist, that society generally treats men more fairly than women, are there societies in which you think that is sufficiently true that you would be a feminist in those circumstances?
Oh, very good question from Louise there. So we've got fact or not, and he's just like, well, look, I know a version of that. It depends on the society, the norms. So kind of a non sequitur there, sort of answering, yeah, okay, I'm not going to agree with you, but I'm not going to disagree. It's not exactly what you're saying. It's more complicated than that. Fine, then let's go into the complication. Courtesy of Louise, she goes, question for Bryan. Would you concede? This is great moderation. Would you concede? Because that is what she is trying to do. We're getting into the wordy stuff, but for a moderator to just come in and word a question really well, to get a simple answer from the person, this is good. She's not taking sides. She's just trying to get them to a better wording, a better phrasing of an idea. I'm really loving the way she's doing this. Question for Bryan: would you concede that there are societies in which women are treated more unfairly than men? Is there a society? Is there one? It's sufficient for the unfairness is sufficient. You would be a feminist. To be a feminist. Like, even in his definition, like by his definition. Okay, right, great one. Does she accept that there are biological differences between men and women? I don't think this woman does. I don't think this, not the peach-colored person, this one, Holly. Just from the comments, what I read in the comments, she doesn't think there is a brain difference between males and females. This now, if we go back to what we were discussing yesterday, I am not of the opinion that our brains work exactly the same. I am of the soft and, yes, quite emotional opinion that while our brains are different and we think differently, and traits-wise, we have collections, we tend to be a certain kind of way compared to each other. We overlap in our similarities, but yes, we have different brains and we operate differently. That does not reduce our a woman's value compared to a man's, in my opinion. It should not. It does not make a woman less valuable than a man. It doesn't make a woman less capable of making decisions than a man. It doesn't, that sort of thing. That's where my line is. My line is drawn. Is that fine? I accept these differences, but I believe in intrinsic value in human life. And that intrinsic value, just on average, as a rule of thumb, I would not be, it's quite ironic to use the rule of thumb, but as a rule of thumb, I would not allow somebody to say, well, we don't need women's opinions because of the way that their brains work. We don't need them because they shouldn't be allowed to vote because they cannot sufficiently make the decision. I'm not on that train.
Yes.
He does, yeah.
Okay,
And he says that in the essay, right? Saudi Arabia or whatever.
but you would
Okay, so he says yes, Saudi Arabia.
wouldn't be a feminist in our current society, i.e., I mean, we're talking currently across 3 different time zones, but the Anglosphere.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, he says yes. He just says yes. And she pipes in that it actually is Saudi for him. Yeah, at least Saudi is moving forward. So yes, in the essay, Saudi. Okay. So well, I think maybe that would be a good place to at least try some sort of activism, because they're actually making some headway there. Okay.
Right. So, I mean, just to back up a little bit. So,
But not in the Anglosphere. Yeah. So he wants to back up there. Somebody told women that men taking care of them means they're stupid and not humans. Men don't think this at all. Angry women do. It's very sad. People fall for it. I fall for it a lot. It gets to me. But also that is also because I also have people that because I'm not a mother, I don't deserve to be taken care of. So it's kind of like that principle is deep. The fact that I'm not a mother means I'm not fully woman. Therefore, I don't get the full privilege of being a woman. I should not be taken care of by my husband because I'm not being a full woman to him. Even though he doesn't want children himself, it doesn't matter. So like there's that weird, this is a weird thing that I'm going through that gets to me, like when I'm discussing this idea, just as a woman. It's this kind of, well, I don't get to be taken care of because I'm not taking care of him in a certain way. I'm not doing what society wants me to do. But then there's us, just being us as individuals. That's your culture, Africa sucks. Well, they didn't tell me that. It's just a feeling. He didn't tell me that either. He's very happy, and I take care of him in ways that make me a woman. and what I mean by that is I made him a salad, okay? Some people just talk nonsense 24/7. Hey, I talk nonsense for 4 hours of a stream and then I go. And as if you imagine you're not providing for your wife, you would be viewed as less than a man. It's so strange though, because sometimes sometimes that's acceptable. He must be for providing for me and that sort of thing. But then other times it's like, no, your wife is a lazy little bitch. So what are we supposed to do? Groovy, stop being a simp. Not you, kitty. None of them terms are defined. Okay, anyway. Wesley, what were you talking about? I've heard Jewish women say this. Anyways, let's go. Not you, kitty. Well, anyway, I was just joking. But hi.
I mean, Holly's a philosopher, so philosophy of language. So definitions can be stipulative, they can be reportive, and then maybe you can also say a definition can be normative, where this is the right definition, it's the morally good definition.
Currently across 3 different time zones, but the Anglosphere.
Right. So, I mean, just to back up a little bit. So, I mean, Holly's a philosopher, so philosophy of language. So definitions can be stipulative, they can be reportive, and then maybe you can also say a definition can be normative.
Ooh, I want to read that and I want to diagram that. So anyway, he's backing up a bit, so I'll back up in my diagram here. Okay. And, geez, how far do we even go back? If we're going to definition. Okay. Okay, point scoring. Maybe it depends on where his point goes. We'll start here. Okay, so so definitions can be stipulative. Okay. So they stipulate what you've got to do. They can be reportive, so they kind of I think that would be a descriptive definition. Reportive. So they actually report on what it actually is. And they can also be normative, which is the right definition. Okay, normative. Okay, so what is normal? What is it's the morally good definition that we ought to be using. Okay, just hold on.
Where this is the
currently across 3 different time zones, but the Anglosphere.
Right. So, I mean, just to back up a little bit. So, I mean, Holly's a philosopher, so philosophy of language. So definitions can be stipulative, they can be reportive, and then maybe you can also say a definition can be normative, where this is the right definition, it's the morally good definition that we ought to be using. So I think it's possible that we don't even really disagree. I think that I'm doing a reportive definition.
Okay, he's talking about, is the normative the morally correct? Or is he saying there is another one? This is the right definition. Normative. It's the morally good definition that we ought to be using. Okay. I'm just going to put that here. Using. Okay. Is it? Okay. Okay. Isn't it the most accurate? But I suppose the most accurate would be the most morally good because it's the most honest. Okay. Whee! Woo! We get to use his song, boys and girls. Give it up for Gordon is amazing. Gordon, he has high tea. Sorry, you'll hear it better. Put it louder here. Gordon just got home, so we're just gonna have one of this.
Gordon puts up with kid is bullshit.
Kid's
It's a lot of
bullshit.
bullshit. Jesus fucking Christ, it's a lot of bullshit. You don't understand how much bullshit he puts up with. Gordon's amazing.
Amazing.
Gordon's perfect. Gordon is high tea. Gordon is the best boy. Gordon's amazing.
He's the best boy.
Gordon's perfect. Gordon is high tea. Gordon
Oh,
is
yeah.
the best boy.
Oh shit, guys, it's repeating. There you go. Gordon is amazing. Did it echo? Their card daily vid. What's this? Yeah, that's the song we play when my husband come home. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Creamage. While the song was playing, I found the picture. Why would you do this to me, chat? I'm a female. Give me money. So there, yeah. I like this. This will be added to the slideshow for the BRB. Gynocentric. So 20 faces is. This is why you've done this to me. It's because you don't want the gynocentrism. Okay. My boy's home. Did he get the flowers I sent? He wouldn't tell me. Gordon, did you get your flowers? He's got his AirPods on. He's not listening to us. He doesn't care. But he is amazing. And has high tea. Right. So it's the morally good definition we ought to be using. Cool. It's possible we don't even disagree. I think I'm doing a reportive definition. Okay, so he's saying his definition is reportive. Why?
Now, I agree with Holly that it's very rare to hear someone actually make the statement, I believe that men are treated more fairly than women. Right? That's an unusual sentence.
Yeah.
I also say that whenever I've debated...
Okay, so I agree with Holly. It's very rare to hear someone, I believe men are treated more fairly than women. Okay. So his reportive definition is what's happening. Okay. How it's used. Okay, that's what I'm thinking is descriptive. So he doesn't hear. We don't actually hear people make this statement. Okay. So, rare. Someone actually make the statement, I believe women are treated. Okay, fine, that's rare. Then what? Yeah, could we please get a definition of fair and fairly? We don't really have it. We haven't gotten to this fair and fairly. We've spoken about being worse off than each other. We've used the word fairly and less fairly. We haven't done that. We have done that, but we have not gone further into describing fair. Because for me, yeah, the fairness is the discussion. The equality, okay, of opportunity is fairness, right? The equality of outcome is not fairness. We're going beyond fairness there. So yeah, the whole thing is what men get, women should get. But obviously the argument that comes up with a lot of people is, well, yeah, when it suits women, they'll get what men get. But when there's other things that men get in society, they won't take them. But yeah, I want women to have the opportunity to go into the mines if they want. Let them do it. Cool. Nobody's forcing men to go in the mines. But It's just more efficient to have them in there than the woman. Okay, as Hardra has told us.
Feminists on this, they have often said, first your definition stupid, Bryan, and now here are 20 ways that men are treated more fairly than women, which I will say leaves me saying,
That's their mistake. That's a mistake.
Yes, I think that I was making a good point. I mean, like, my question for Holly is, so
Okay, hold up. Where are we at? Oh, this is the feminists. Okay, he's got other feminists. Okay.
Holly, that it's very rare to hear someone actually make the statement, I believe that men are treated more fairly than women. Right? That's an unusual sentence.
Yeah.
I also say that whenever I've debated feminists on this, they have often said, first your definition stupid, Bryan, and now here are 20 ways that men are treated more fairly than women.
Okay, so most of the time feminists will give men will give, hey, look at this, look how women are. When he debates it, people will go, well, this is how women are treated unfairly compared to men, right? So they'll give those. They'll give the historic ones, I'm sure. Most of the time it's the historic ones, because I'm not too sure about those ones happening now. What are we going to find now? What are we going to hear about now? In which, because I don't see oppression in the Anglosphere now. Okay, so he's going, okay, fine. Usual feminist will argue, usually a feminist, the definition incorrect because they can identify ways that a woman whether I've debated feminists on this, they've said first your definition is stupid, now here are 20 ways that men are treated more fairly than women. So ways that men are treated incorrect, but they can still identify ways in which men are treated more fairly. So they're going to go with the wage gap and the what than women. Okay. Which leaves me saying mistake. That is a mistake. I think I was making a good point. Yes, fine. That's not the argument we're having now, though, because apparently she's not having this argument. She's already conceded that point and said your definition is not my definition anyway.
Which I will say leaves me saying,
that's their mistake. That's a mistake.
Yes, I think that I was making a good point. I mean, like, my question for Holly is, so you say you don't know any feminist who think this. Do you know any feminist ever who just said, I think the women get a fantastic deal and I have no serious complaints about the treatment of women in society?
That's pretty good. Fine, if my definition is so bad, please tell me. I have a question. Do any of your feminists... So what is your problem with what is a feminist then? I feel like that's quite a cheeky way of saying it, but I enjoyed it. So, do you know any feminist ever who just said, I think women get a fantastic deal? So that's the point of feminism. A feminist will not concede that we get a fantastic deal. A feminist, by definition, is saying that society is problematic. Yes, there no. If this is great. Like, if his definition is wrong, why? This should be easy. There should be like this. +1 for funny take, yeah.
I mean, Phyllis Schlafly said that women have special privileges and it's stupid to be an equality feminist because you're stepping down a rung.
Okay, so now we've got other feminists. So, well, there's a feminist that said a thing. So, haha, contested. We do have feminists like that. Okay, that's one. But I want you guys also to talk about the TikTok feminists. Phyllis Schlafly said the women have a special privilege and stupid to be an equality feminist because you're stepping down a rung. Okay, well, what about you? Well, Louise and I talked about it at great length in the last discussion. We want to revisit it. Visit it.
There are... Well, Louise and I...
What do I do with all these notes? I'll look at them later on. and I enjoy them, and I comment on them. That they get saved in my computer, and I'm supposed to make summary videos about them, where I explain a little bit about my favorite parts about things, and yeah, I make commentary about them. I put commentary on the notes. Yeah. You're stepping down a rung, cool. Feminists say the wage gap is real, but women also want their man to make more money than them. Yeah, most of them. They still want that. That is a usual thing. Or DHD. I've just got traits. It's below. It's sub. What do you call it? Not diagnosable. And it's definitely not weaponizable either.
Talked about this
It's not fast enough.
great length in our last discussion.
It
So maybe
is,
we
yeah.
don't want to revisit that.
Self-identifies.
Yeah, who cares how people self-identify? That is the least of my interests.
When it's a definition. So if you want to do a reportive definition, that's where you want to say, all right, who are all the people say they are, who are all the people say they aren't, and what do the people that say they are have in common, and what do the people say they aren't have in common? And that's
I think
what I'm...
even...
Okay, so we've got, so reportive. He explains what this, he's going more about the reportive definition. Reportive equals who are the people who say they are. Who are the people who say they are not? What do they all have in common? What do they have in common? Oh, well, not they all. What do the self-identifiers have in common? That would eventually get to the point of this whole what you mostly hear. So he's talking about that she doesn't like this idea. She doesn't like the idea of self-report. Okay. He doesn't actually mind self-reporting because it's like, well, we need, I guess in some ways, if we are talking about language, you do need to consider how people are using it. It's the idea of, oh, well, you should be able to call yourself a liberal. Reclaim the idea of a liberal. A liberal is not a libtard. A liberal is just a normal person that wants freedoms for people and is not crazy, okay, or doesn't want to go all the way to the other side when it comes to giving people freedom. You're not a libtard. You're a liberal. We can't do that anymore. We actually, you eventually don't use the word anymore because you come up socially, you come up against, confusion, backlash, all of those sort of things. So yes, I'm interested in this reportive kind of definition because reportive would then be how this word is used. Unfortunately, that means you have to jump along and change as society changes the definition of words. Our favorite one is woke. Woke changed quite different into quite a different beast compared to what it was originally created for. I love these diagrams, the idea of diamond degrades, but often I read over them again. I can't extract the critical points of them. I make these for work too. Oh, really? You can't extract them? Extract the critical points? You know what would be... when I go through them, go over them afterwards... Okay, so this is, it is difficult. What you do really, what is so exciting for me is when I go and say, like, put a boundary around something. So you go and you do this, and that is kind of the idea of summarizing. So in this block, so you make blocks of blocks for yourself. That's one of the easiest things to do is that, okay, and then you go and you put here and you put a description and you say, okay, definition of feminism. They're talking about it. That's what they're talking about. And then you can go and you can put a note there about it as well. So you kind of, I think the closest thing you can do is summarize. Go through the blocks and be like, which is the most important block here? It takes a lot of time. That's why my summary videos are just not a thing. because I'm in this weird mill of trying to keep doing live stuff while also doing analysis of the stuff I've created during live streams. I mean, I could make diagrams without chat, without any of that, not live stream them, and then just only talk over a diagram. But that also takes time. I would need to get ahead of myself. I need to take off like a couple of weeks of streaming. Yeah, in some cultural circumstances. So yeah, it is quite. It would be interesting. What kind of diagrams do you do? Thought Patrol for work. Do you use Xmind or other kinds of things? Okay. Right, so a report of people who say they are with people who say they are not do. So this is quite interesting. I found this quite useful. Then let's go.
On a descriptive type of approach like that, some people can still be wrong. You're still going to be looking. Who cares how people self-identify? That is the least of my interests.
Well, yeah, who cares about people who self-identify? Sorry. This will be connected. She says it before, but it's connected to this. Not interested. People self-identify. I think they should be. That's quite an elitist kind of view. Oh, well, you self-identify yourself this way. Me, not interested. Yeah, same Xmind and Obsidian. I still have to try out Obsidian. We should try it out. I think Obsidian would be a good way to link all of them together, because you can get the outliner view, which is basically it puts all of them into their it's bullet points, so it's very nice, and you could then link this to another. And I'm on a limit here with how many links I can make between maps. I think I can make 3 at a time. Anyway, I ignore people who self-identify because it's inconvenient to my position. Pretty much. It's like, okay, but so it's what I say it is. But he's like, no, I want to discuss it. She's like, well, I'm not interested in it. Okay, well, okay. Well, then I guess we're just not going to have this conversation.
It's a definition. So if you want to do a reportive definition, that's where you want to say, all right, who are all the people who say they are, who are all the people who say they aren't, and what do the people that say they are have in common, and what do the people say they aren't have in common? And that's
I think even on a descriptive type of approach like that, some people can still be wrong. You're still...
Okay, so even on a descriptive type, sorry, let's put that there. Even descriptive. So she has, remember we were, someone in chat asked, what about a descriptive definition? And I said a descriptive would probably be a reportive. Same thing. So she's now gone and as well spoken about this being a descriptive. Even on a descriptive level. Like that, people can be wrong. So, okay, so they're wrong. And I guess that's where you have to go, oh, well, she's defining it differently. We're going to talk about that. But I also understand Bryan wanting to talk about it and defend that definition or defend what he's seeing, because that's why he wrote his essay in the first place.
We're going to be looking for, like, what are the unifying features that give me a coherent definition? Some people can still turn out to be wrong about what they are, calling themselves the thing when they're not, or failing to call themselves the thing when they are.
Okay, so people can be wrong about calling themselves. About what they call themselves. So you disagree with their definitions. When somebody calls themselves something, they're defining it wrong, incorrectly. So you will know better because you're the academics. The academia are the ones that are supposed to tell us what the definition is, right? But if it's in common parlance, you're fucked.
And Schlafly, I just think, is an interesting case of someone who really worked for women's interests as she understood them, but would fucking hate the label feminist, with all her being.
Holly, do you think it's fair to say that most feminists, Phyllis Schlafly, as we discussed, is an unusual example?
Yes.
Yeah. That most feminists do think that women are treated in general unfairly, even if they would concede that there are some instances where women have a better deal than men, particularly in the contemporary Anglosphere.
Yes, please, 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 please. That's a great. So he tried to ask, okay, about this. Like, okay, cool. I would like to know, do you know, the way he asked it was, do you know any feminist who just said, I think women get a fantastic deal? We can change this question to what she's asked here, which is a lot nicer and better worded. Is, okay, fine. Is it fair to say, Holly, do you think it's fair to say that most feminists do think this? That's the same question. It's a repeated question. We're repeating ourselves, boys. So I think I'm just going to put a little relationship in here and be like, same question, different words. Different words. Wording. Okay? Cool with that. Ew. Okay, so you guys can see that. Mostly the utility I find in diagramming is a lot of the time when I'm watching, when I'm in a current place of the diagram and they say something, I am able to go back to it in the diagram in real time. That's mostly where I find the best utility for this. Having a map of the conversation means I'm able to go back into it and point. Okay, yes, we could go to a timestamp, probably, but for me, I do like having this visual because it's like I'm going from this to that. We went backwards and forwards in my what's the name? We're going backwards and forwards in the conversation. If we go further, we get answers. We go more to the right. If we go back and we don't explore new ideas, we're going back that way. Okay, so how do you think it's fair? Okay, please answer here. Andrew Wilson is the guy on this debate. No, he's not the guy. It's the guy that's on this debate is Bryan Caplan.
One quick clarification. So notice I'm very clear. So I just want to say men are treated more fairly because everyone's treated unfairly in life. That's just a fact.
Okay, wait, sorry. Go back. What did you say? Oh, sorry, she did. But most feminists do. As we've discussed, is an unusual example. But most feminists, I didn't finish copy pasting. One quick clarification. Okay, oh, sorry, unfairly. Most feminism, but most feminists think that women are treated in general unfairly, even if they could concede that there are some instances where women have better deal than men, particularly in the contemporary Anglosphere. So she is saying, yeah, that's mostly what feminists, isn't that mostly what feminists are on about? It's about how women don't get what men get and all of that. It really is women in opposition to men and women in comparison to men, not just women in general. What's the point otherwise? Okay, one quick clarification. I know it's not so very clear. I just want to say men are treated more fairly because everyone's treated unfairly in life. What? Okay, let me just hear him say it.
Think that women are treated in general unfairly, even if they would concede that there are some instances where women have a better deal than men, particularly in the contemporary Anglosphere.
One quick clarification. So notice I'm very clear. So I just want to say men are treated more fairly because everyone's treated unfairly in life. That's just a fact.
Okay, so everyone's, yeah, that was part of why I was so frustrated. This everyone being treated unfairly in life does not mean suddenly that this lack of fairness with regard to women historically, not contemporarily, historically, that doesn't make that disappear. That's all. It doesn't make it disappear. It doesn't mean that I'm sitting here now, the women need reparations. No. I'm just talking about where we were before, not happy. Where we are now, quite happy. One quick, so anyway, he's just keeping it clear. Men are treated more fairly because everyone's treated unfairly in life. Okay. everyone. I think mostly the key point to take out there is everyone. I think he mumbles a little bit there. That's just a fact, right? There's no society where anybody actually, no matter how great their life is getting treated unfairly or is getting fairly. What? Okay, let's see what he's saying.
Right? There's no society where anybody actually, no matter how great their life is getting treated unfairly treated fairly all the time. So that's why
Jesus.
I did want to make it comparative in that sense.
Okay. There's no society where everybody where nobody is getting treated unfairly. Essentially, it's just everyone's treated unfairly, so that's why I didn't want to make it comparative that way. Yes, but there is the idea of more unfairly versus less unfairly. You are talking about that. You weren't saying men are treated fairly, and women are treated fairly. Women are treated unfairly. It's everyone's treated unfairly. Women are treated more unfairly than men. And with yesterday's debate, that's where I was coming from. Where it was like, yes, there were the men that were unfairly treated, but women still did not have what men had, which was therefore unfair. Hello? You don't get to just cancel that out. Okay, treated unfairly. Then I'm totally on board because they're human and humans are treated unfairly. Okay.
Because yeah, like if you just say it's the view that women are treated unfairly, then I'm totally on board because they're human and humans are treated unfairly.
Right, so someone cut me up in traffic today. I was treated unfairly, but it wasn't a slight against women, qua women. What we're talking about is unfairly as a group.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
Holly, this question, do you think that feminists in general do think that in general women are treated unfairly as a group?
Look, I find it a slightly unnatural focused term, I have to say. Like the
Oh my god, that's disingenuous. Come on. It's an unfocused term, unfairly. Okay, just continue, please. Sorry.
unfairness and what I said in the opening remarks about like, is this supposed to be strictly comparative or is there some objective notion going on of
I think it has to be strictly comparative because as Emperor Goodwin was talking about, we needed a definition of fairness and unfair. We didn't talk about that. Fair requires comparison. Okay? Fair is requires comparison. Otherwise, we're not. What is fair? We're talking about what is what does one side get and what does the other side get? Are they equal? When we're talking about fairness, we're talking about equality. Yes, that means we have two or three, four, whatever. We have more than one distinct group of things, category of things. So of course we're going to need to compare. It has to be strictly comparative. Unfair. When we say unfair, we say, oh, this group gets more than the other group. This group gets treated better than the other group. This group has more rights than the other group. That's the most important thing that I'm thinking of, is this group can do this, whereas this group cannot do this. Okay? Of course, there are examples where they were brought up yesterday, where it was, oh, well, children can't do this. Well, yes, children cannot do this. And that is supposed to be extrapolated onto, well, women can't do this because of the qualities of women. And that's where I disagreed. Okay, so yeah, we do need to get into the fairness. Unfairly is a focused term. We're getting dangerously close to definitions which undermine my rhetoric. Okay, so let's go here.
how people should be supposed to be strictly compared, like the unfairness and what I said in the opening remarks about like focused term
as a group.
Look, I find it a slightly unnatural focused term, I have to say, like the unfairness and what I said in the opening remarks about like.
Okay, so I'm going to put this unfocused term. Unfocused. Unnaturally. You said unnaturally. Focused. Unfocused term. That's just gobbledygook to me so far. Unfocused term. Yes, it's so far because we haven't heard the rest of it because I just cannot get past this line. Okay, slightly unnatural did she say unfocused terms? Fuck's sake.
I was treated unfairly, but it wasn't a slight against women, qua women. What we're talking about is unfairly as a group.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Holly, this question, do you think that feminists in general do think that in general women are treated unfairly as a group?
Look, I find it a slightly unnatural focused
Okay, focus.
term, I have to say, like the unfairness. And what I said in the opening.
So the unfairness, I suppose. This like the unfairness. That's what she's calling an unfocused term.
Remarks about like, is this supposed to be strictly comparative, or is there some objective notion going on of...
Is it strictly comparative? That sounds like it's unfocused. Because you're asking for more details to focus in on the definition. Okay? Is it strictly comparative? In which case, like I said, and it has to be comparative. It doesn't have to be on the whole, as in how do the point scoring system the way that we were talking about. It's more like, in what ways, what can a man do that a woman can't do? What is a man allowed to do that a woman is not allowed to do? That is what I am concerned with as a, I don't know, some kind of feminist. Okay, is it strictly comparative? What is it? Is this some objective notion? Okay. Going on of how people should be treated. No. Okay, so she's like, oh, you see, is there an objective notion there? This is fairness. Okay, do we have fairness? And then we talk about how women are measured up and down across this line of fairness, right? That's what she means by objective notion of fairness? No, the whole point, I would say, is that it is about fairness compared to men. Why on earth would we concern ourselves with it being feminism if we're not comparing ourselves to men? I suppose now I'm answering my question. What we would do is because there are uniquely female problems that men just would not encounter, just as there would be uniquely male problems that men would not encounter.
How people should be treated. My sense is that, and again, like Bryan says, he's talked to lots of feminists. This doesn't seem like an unusual definition, at least, and maybe with like, I don't know what that is, that more like public sphere people or columnist people?
Those exist, and those I'm sorry, academics, I'm so sorry, honey sweeties, I've said this in previous more serious debates. It behooves you, academics, to educate us, okay? And you cannot ignore what people are talking about. You cannot ignore how people use your words out there. They've been released on society. They're out there being little activists on their own. You are sitting here being an academic. It's a different sphere. You need to either be in that sphere and spouting it, or you're being disingenuous. You are in that sphere. You are busy creating little feminazis. I don't know. This is just a reaction. Okay? Yeah, you cannot ignore that exists, though. That is, if I was Bryan, that's what my argument would be. He could probably point to academics that speak this way. Like I said, so would Louise. But I would wonder, no, you don't get to just back out of that and say, well, my feminists don't say that. It's like, well, the ones that count, and I say count because they are literally they have way more audience than you.
Or is that academic? Like, I don't know who those people are in my reading, and especially focused on
This is a repetition, by the way. We have gotten to this.
The second wave. They are talking about domination. They are talking about justice. They are talking about sex roles constraining women's potential.
Yeah, no true Scotsman. Yeah, there you go. You said it was coming. It had come already. It's coming again. They're talking about sex roles constraining women's potential. Whoa, huh? Okay. Sex roles. Ooh, okay, you see, this is the feminism where I'm like, You're trying to socially engineer the woman out of woman. Okay? I just want people to be allowed to do things if they're men and women. Okay? The same thing. Okay? I'm allowed to be a sewage worker. Okay? It's happened. It's allowed. I'm allowed to do that. Maybe I'll get fired because I can't lift enough things, a manhole or whatever. I'm not gonna do. I'm not actually equipped to do it. Fine, but I'm allowed to do it. That's the only thing that I'm concerned with in terms of equality, but you're talking about no, we need to fuck around with gender dynamics essentially because we're being constrained by gender roles. Again, that is social pressure. That's social pressure. I don't know if I'm busy fighting social pressure, whereas I would be more interested in fighting hard power. Okay, you should be fighting the hard power. You should be fighting the legislation that constrains you, and which you will find in the Anglosphere. There is no legislation that confines you, so you should just continue, okay, and deal with the social upheaval that happens when you step out of line. Deal with not being what you're supposed to be as a woman. Deal with it. As long as it's legal, you should have the freedom to do it. Okay, so you should be, they should be treated. She's just going more about, it's an unnaturally focused term, and then, by the way, the feminists, she knows and reads, don't think of, she just will not concede this. This was the question. Most feminists think that women are treated unfairly, even if they would concede that there are some instances where women have a better deal than men, particularly in the Anglosphere. All you need to say is that, yes, some feminists do this, but she is really saying no. No, she's actually doing a bit of a Peterson over here. She's going, what do you mean by unfair? And the feminist, she knows and reads, don't think of it this way. So she's wording it differently. She says they're focused on domination. So we got some domination, okay? They're focused on, they're talking about domination, they're talking about justice. Justice, okay. Justice. So justice. Justice is fairness, hun. You're going through the same concepts here. You're chaffing and redirecting. I don't even think you're doing the redirect. You're just chaffing. So you're talking justice. Okay. They're talking about sex roles. Constraining woman's potential. Okay. I would be interested to say, okay, is that an example of unfairness in society? Okay, is that it? And also what I'm thinking is the feminists you're reading are the beginning of the abolish gender movement thing. If they're talking about sex roles constraining women's potential. Okay, so let's see.
Who those people are in my reading, and especially focused on the second wave, they are talking about domination. They are talking about justice. They are talking about sex roles.
I think fairness and justice can still be considered together, being fair and just. So yes, we can be equal in meting out justice. That would be fair. But yeah, if something is just, it is fair. If she believed in biological differences between men and women, yeah, let's see what she does. I don't know if she gets to it.
Constraining women's potential because people have stupid ideas about what a female's nature is.
People are, so there you are, there is. People have stupid ideas of what a female's nature is. They just have you met women? Like, there are certain traits that we just have in general. There's a certain way that we are in general, at least. And of course, we're allowed to step out of those traits, okay? There is something called a tomboy. We have subcategories for this in society. We have a tomboy, we have a girly girl, we have the trad wife, we have the boss bitch. We have all of these kinds of different things that actually are allowed to exist. They actually are. But I suppose the activist is, yeah, they're only allowed to exist because we made them normalized. We tried to normalize the boss bitch. We tried to normalize this. She's never read or met a woman that behave outside her preferred narrative. I would hope that Louise is outside her preferred narrative. Sex roles. So yeah, we've got sex roles, constraining women. Good Lord. Okay. Only the craziest feminists go to the mines. Okay, that's what you would do? Okay. The feminists she knows and reads don't think of it this way. They focus on that. Oh yes, because of stupid ideas of what people have stupid ideas of what females' natures of what females' nature is. So this is a weird position, right, that I'm dealing with, right? My qualm would be, oh, society expects me to have children, and that's wrong. Society expects me to have children, and therefore I should be a feminist, and I should fight the patriarchy for wanting me to be the woman, take up the woman's role. I'm not so sure that society is responsible for that. I do think, yeah, that naturally women just do. In general, women do just want children. They do. Just because I am some sort of exception, that doesn't mean that now society has to change according to me. But in the same vein, I am not going to be very happy if I was younger, this would be more of a threat, but if I was somehow compelled to have a child, or I was denied birth control, that would be a problem to me. You see? That's the difference. That's the line for me. I want to be able to not have children. Okay? And I am. This is good. I am able. And that when you have an Anglosphere woman, they're like, I'm able to kill my baby. That's not good enough. Jeez. What do you want? I want to be a man. It's essentially what they do. You need to take up the white woman's burden. Kipling would approve. What? Take up the white woman's burden? Pull and pray. So you got to do that? No, jeez. But men don't have the right to have a baby like women do. You haven't got a womb. You haven't got a womb. That's just reminding me of Monty Python. The balance between the sexes is important. When society socially engineers too much, it's caused chaotic results. Yeah. That's why I don't think it should be socially engineered to accommodate me. And I just need to get over myself when I encounter emotions, when society pushes back on me, when I get displeased feedback from other people. It's up to me. Or I can be influenced by society and just go and get knocked up. Gordon! That was not a good time to ask you, but can you feed the choochies? Please? Choochies! Guys, I have to feed the cats. But you know what? We could push it another half an hour. Gordon has just thrown the job on me. He's like, listen, I need to go and work so that I can pay for your internet so you can yap on the internet. So, or I could just get knocked up. Gordon, yeah, that I didn't realize it until I said it, because I just realized the time. The way that this thought went through my head is I finished my sentence, got tired with that conversation, and realized the time and my cat. So I needed to call Gordon. Okay. If every woman did not want to have babies, what do we do? Just let them be? Hey. I don't think we need to worry about that. That's a hypothetical, because just considering the way I've experienced women, the amount of women who have said, I don't want children, and then they hit a certain age, the biological clock does it, boy. It works, so we don't have to worry about that. If we do get to that crisis, Wesley, we can get desperate times, desperate measures. We can talk about that. Anyway, the balance between the sexes, yeah. Well, you can imagine what it must be like for me, Kitty. Well, thank you for your empathy. I appreciate that. There will always be a woman who's looking to undermine her sisters. Yes, that's true as well, Emperor Goodwin. So yeah, a woman will be like, oh, that bitch won't have a child. Well, look at me, I'll have a child for you. So, what about it? Let's go. that is quite a good, I don't know if that's what you meant, Goodwin, but I think it makes sense that way. Because as soon as one woman's giving something that another woman's not, there's a competition. So we will never get ourselves out of that. Or we just do the artificial womb thing. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll land up doing that someday.
None of that is about, at a time, unfairness relative.
What about having the right to vote? Yeah, we should have the right to vote. And that's where I lost my shit. Because people are like, she shouldn't have the right to vote. Women are always looking to be sexually competitive and undermine other women. Mm-hmm. We're very competitive things. And just because you have a man, that doesn't mean that you stop being competitive, because you're trying to keep that man. Okay? So when it comes to creamage, I'm gonna throw hands. Creamage is trying to get my man. And yeah, fine. It's creamage isn't a woman, but I'm still competitive with that. I'm still gonna beat everyone out of the arena. It's not just having babies, it's strong families and making the environment safe to have large families. I'm pro-family, just not my own, you know? Oh, my poor babies. Speaking of my own family, I do need to feed them. Daisy, come here. Come say hello quickly. Come here. But I mean, we do need to finish. Let's see where we're at. Did I get to 20 minutes? We got to 20 minutes, guys. We actually can finish. Let her finish this bullshit answer, though.
To men, because people have stupid ideas about what a female's nature is. None of that is about, at a time, unfairness relative to men. And this.
Okay, none of that. So she's now surprised. She's saying all of this is none of that. Okay, so none of that is I don't know what she was going for with compared. Maybe none of this is at our time about unfairness. Unfairness compared to relative to men. Okay, so just from what you've listed here, let's look at it. They're focused on domination. Okay. Domination, men are dominating, so that's unfair, right? Because that's unfairness. That's about who gets to be in control. They're talking about domination. They're talking about justice. What's justice? Justice for what? For the crimes against women. Justice for do they not get? It's justice for this is what I was talking about. Maybe there are unique problems that we can think about, like gender-based violence, all of that sort of thing. That you could say that's the justice they're talking about, but it could be that still could be talking about for many feminists. It's about, okay, well, do I get child support versus a man? Justice can still be an unfair versus fair thing. Sex roles constraining women's potential because of stupid ideas of what nature is, a female's nature is. Okay, we are then again saying that a man's traits and a man's nature has more virtue than a female's nature. There's unfairness there, but she's saying none of it is unfairness relative to men. It is still relative to men, though. Domination seems a bit extreme. I don't know, generally speaking, whether women are dominated by men, but I don't know what she means by domination, but maybe it's a male-dominated field is what we're talking about. So male domination being more men in a certain field than there, and I don't know, other justice things. Maybe they're talking about reproductive rights or something like that when they talk about justice. Sex roles constraining women's potential. Okay, who is constraining them? This is what they're talking about. At this point, this is when you start saying who is constraining them. What are you talking about? Where are the laws? Where are the laws that keep you out? Because that is my contention. Where are the laws that keep you out? Because when it gets to those, that's when I'll burn my bra for you. Okay? If you were properly discriminated against, you're not brought in. Cool. Let's do it. But also, I also don't want artificial inflation of demographics either. I don't want DEI. So there we go. So she's finished that. That's not unfairness. So I hope that Bryan has something to say about this.
Way that you could kind of do the tallies in the two columns. It's just not their focus.
Okay, so it's not their focus. None of this is relative unfairness relative to men in this way that you could kind of do the tallies in two columns. That is not the question. The question was, yeah, if we did the tally in the two columns, we would find men are treated unfairly. Absolutely. We would find that. But we would also find that women are treated unfairly. That's it. That's what feminists can at least sit on, right? Can't they do that? Yeah, we can. There's probably a lot of them that will say men have it easy, or they'll try and say that. But yeah, this tallies in two columns. You don't have to go to this tally in two columns. She's taken that out for you. She said that yes, you can concede that men have a better deal. They have a better deal. You can concede that women have a better deal in some cases, but feminists still say that they're treated in general unfairly. It's not about unfairness. She's being contrary here.
Say all of the things that Holly just mentioned would be canonical examples of unfairness.
Yes, I think that's a great place to end. Okay, look, obviously we have more to go over. This is a very long one, guys. We're only 20 minutes in, and it's like 1.5 hours. I, for one, want to continue with it. Females' nature, none of it's about gay. It's not just their focus. I'd say all of the things. Canonical examples of unfairness. Okay, you can bring that in. That's where we'll end, and that is at 20:08. Okay, I am very much enjoying this. So CS Pappy is allowed praise for this. So far, we're talking a summary. So far, what we did is we spoke about, we had this interesting beginning where they had to define their opponents. They had to give their opponent's definition of feminism, and both of them quoted from each other's academic papers or essays, whatever. So both of them did that, and they did criticize. They garnered some criticisms at each other. Her criticism, Holly's criticism of Bryan's definition of feminism was she has qualms, and this recurred throughout, that what does more fairly mean? Okay, what does more fairly or more unfairly mean? Is it does it bring us to the sibling rivalry kind of comparison? There are certain ways that women are treated unfairly, but men are treated worse because they have to go to war. So she had that whole idea. She brought that up. She understands that that's what he's going to bring up in terms of this. Yeah, not the more fairly bit. She has a problem with don't be a feminist. Okay. She says, okay, that is seeing feminism as bad. She is wondering if her main question is, does a group have to be the most oppressed group for it to be valid to be advocated for? Okay, so for her it's like, well, you can go for women's rights. They don't need to be the most oppressed person in society. We don't need to go into the oppression Olympics. We just need to say there is oppression over here. Okay. Then Bryan quotes Holly, which is, there's a bit of a word salad definition, but a feminist is a person who works for women's equality. So she puts all of those in. You're looking for women's equality of opportunity. My problem with this one was whether or in outcome or opportunity. No, we want opportunity. Okay. They work for women's individual self-determination, women's liberation, and women's interest as the person understands them. Person who works against male domination. So that it was already in her definition. For him, he was worried about, well, not worried, what stood out to him, working. You have to be an activist if you're a feminist. You can't just hold this belief, you have to be working. You can't care about equality, you have to be doing something for it. Then he brought some stuff in with the left versus right. One of his things we still haven't gotten to is his critique was, if a feminist is obliged to advocate on behalf of women's interests or women's demands, what if those women's demands are completely unreasonable? So he brought in this idea of tribalism, right, in feminism. That, okay, just because you're a feminist, I need to support you. Then also, most of what we went through today was about this criticism of that scoring points. And eventually what we've really come down to is Holly is really trying to say that no, we're not talking about, the view of the feminist is not that they are treated unfairly compared to men. It's not that. That is not what it's about. It's only about advocacy for women. It's only about that. It's not about comparing them to men. And I feel like she's been, shifting all over the place for this. So yeah, I'm excited to get to the next bit, and also in terms of moderation, really enjoying Louise's things, the way that she's done it, the way that she words questions, because she actually had to repeat questions that had already been answered by giving us better wording. So she's done really great as a moderator. So that is that for today. Let us get going. Have a good week. Well, good week. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be doing it in the morning. Kitty ripping that hospitalized grandma attire. It's kind of slaps. Yes, I'm feeling very, very sick. I can't get up. I have fallen and cannot get up. Please give me money. Okay, cheers everyone. Yeah, guys, have a good old life, and I will see you in the morning. Well, will we do it tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon? Kitty ain't no scrub. So, I suppose I am. Scrub is a guy that ain't no love something from me. But yes, I will see you guys tomorrow. Keep your notifications on. Check me out on Twitter. Be on the Discord. I announce when I'm gonna go. Usually you get about half an hour's notice on average. I expect you to be here. Otherwise, how can you not listen to our background music and see me fuck around with Xmind? Have a nice life. Okay, thanks, bye.
I'll see you next time, bro. Okay, thanks, bye. We're squirky as fuck. Daisy's a mess, but we were having fun the whole time. I'll see you next time, bro. Okay, thanks, bye. We're squirky as fuck. We're squirky as fuck. Daisy's a mess, but we were having fun the whole time. I'll see you next time, bro. Okay, thanks, bye. We're squirky as fuck. We're squirky as fuck. We're squirky as fuck. Okay, thanks, bye.